kids. It's time to get some SML podcast all up in that.
What's up, everyone? This is the SML Podcast. I am your host, Joe. It is the Road to Survivor Series this weekend, which means another Wrasslecast. And in turn, we've got Tim Ekkebus joining. Tim, how's it going?
Hey, burr, 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 burr. Yeah, I said I'm tired, but obviously excited to be here and talk about wrestling on our quarterly Wrasslecast.
I love the Wrasslecasts. I love having you on chatting wrestling. It doesn't happen enough.
Well, my wife doesn't want to talk wrestling with me, so, and no one around me watches wrestling anymore, so.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
It's because a lot of the fun of wrestling is being able to watch it with a bunch of people and, make fun of it when you're bored. Man, freaking watching Royal Rumble at that MagFest was...
That was one of the greatest wrestling experiences I've ever had.
It was one of the greatest wrestling experiences I ever had, absolutely. That was a dog shit Rumble, too. That was the year that Roman won.
Yeah.
That
was also the year that the New Day took off. Because we forced it. Yeah. We take full responsibility for New Day.
It was good, but yeah. But anyways, this weekend, this Takeover Survivor Series weekend is looking pretty good. Usually Survivor Series, I mean, it might still be, but Survivor Series is usually the weakest of like the big 5 pay-per-views. Formerly the big 4, but now Money in the Bank gets a Takeover weekend, so I guess that's a big one too.
Which it deserves it.
Yeah, but usually Survivor Series is like, okay, it's like holding pattern before the Rumble. They do this whole brand versus brand thing, so like none of the titles are on the line.
Hey, did you know it's that one time a year where Raw and SmackDown superstars go head to head?
Yeah, except for like during Evolution and WrestleMania and like random special attractions and the Greatest Royal Rumble and,
the regular Royal Rumble.
Yeah, the regular Royal Rumble. Yeah.
Man.
I read a rumor they supposedly weren't going to do that again this year, but then like Roman got hurt and was what they just defaulted back to that. I mean, they had to build this show in 2 weeks, basically, so.
Yeah. So it's amazing what kind of card came together in 2 weeks, and it's amazing what kind of card has changed in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were saying before the last episode, we briefly talked about doing the Wrasslecast then. Yeah. It is a very good thing we didn't.
Yeah, we'd be just recording a redaction cast right
redaction
now.
Cast.
A retraction, not a redaction. Redacting is different. Retracting.
Retract the cast.
About. Anyways, but yeah. I guess we should kick it off with Takeover.
Yeah, let's kick it off with Takeover. There
Four
are
games.
Four announced matches so far. I'm wondering if they're going to add a 5th one. Do you think they will?
I'm wondering if we'll see, like, I'm blanking on his name. Bro.
Matt Riddle.
Matt Riddle against Cassius Ohno.
I think that'd be a good addition to the card.
Or is it for Keith Lee to beat up Cassius Ohno? One of the two beating up Cassius Ohno. Oh, no. Oh no! Just like a quick, squash to kick off the show. Sorry, Cassius Ohno. You know what your job is. You know why you're there.
So if that match happens, obviously Ohno's going to put over the young talent.
Ohno is not winning. Yeah, that is not. Yeah, he is there to lose.
But let's focus on the actual announced matches. I'm just going to go off of what's listed on Wikipedia because they're smarter than me.
Yep, that's what I got open.
So we've got Shayna Baszler, champion, NXT Women's Champion, going against Kairi Sane. 2 out of 3 falls.
2 out of 3 falls match. That is like the NXT nuclear option match. That is their top match, like the way Hell in a Cell used to be, or maybe the TLC match used to be before they were just their own respective pay-per-views on the main brand.
This shit's about to get heavy match.
Yeah, this is like they don't pull this one out all that often, and when they do, it is a big deal. So this is a big deal match, and it should be awesome.
Who do you see going over here?
I don't know what the hell is going on upstairs in my house right now. It sounds like I might have to do something with my child. I might have to have a child. Hang on, I have to tag out. I got to take care of my child. Sorry, hang on.
Oh no,
life.
I have to fill air. So how's everyone doing tonight? I don't know what to do. Normally I have Cole here to keep me company, but it's just me and Tim. So hopefully he's not that long, because that means I'm going to have to do a lot of work editing. And that's just, oh God, I hate editing. Actually sitting down and having to find sections of a show to chop out, move things around and make it sound right. It is work. It is actual legit work. And it is gross. It makes me feel dirty and disgusting. Sounds like he's coming back. Is he? Getting the hot tag, coming back?
Sorry, my child's an asshole. He did the same thing last night where he's just you put him to bed and he just keeps whining. He's I go up there. I'm like, buddy, what's going on? He's like, I want another hug and smooch. I'm like, oh my God.
Kids.
Whatever. Anyways, but this match, Baszler versus Kairi Sane, 2 out of 3 falls. I want to hug and smooch that. And both of the competitors.
I hope you know I'm keeping all of this.
But yeah, so yeah, God, I don't know what to think. We got Shayna. She's the I thought when Shayna lost at not SummerSlam, Brooklyn, that
she was getting a call up.
She was getting the call up, but then she stuck around. I'm like, okay, they're gonna do the rematch. But now, I think I think
Shane is going to take it, and I want to go out on a limb here. I know this will never happen because it never happens. I want to see Shayna win in 2 falls.
It happens sometimes, on occasion.
Rarely do they have a 2 out of 3 falls match end in 2, which I would love to see. They need to do it more often.
Last recall when the Usos faced the Wyatt family, they won in 2 falls.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often, but
no.
I think it'd be cool to see. It puts over Shayna as a beast, too.
Well, I think you're going to see Shayna take a fall because of interference from her henchwomen, and maybe see them get the big old get you're out of here thing. And then maybe, Kairi takes the next fall, and then Shayna takes it in the end, because I think they want to keep this whole Shayna 4 horsewoman thing going on in NXT. Yeah, I just see that continuing to go on since they just got those other 2 involved, Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir, Roderick Strong.
You don't think this is the end of Shayna and Kairi? Or do you think it's just Shayna staying longer in NXT?
I do think it's the end of it is the end of Shayna and Kairi for right now, for sure. For in NXT. I mean, they wouldn't be doing the 2 out of 3 falls match if it wasn't. So
the big blow off. Ooh.
I think this is the blow off one way or the other. That this is definitely the end of it. But I think there's more mileage on it. I think maybe Shayna hangs around a little bit longer.
All right.
Both of them really. I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, we'll see.
Moving on, we got Aleister Black versus Johnny Gargano. Obviously, the heel turn from Johnny.
Johnny Gargano.
That son of a bitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like his reasoning, though. He had solid reasoning for why he did what he did.
Sure. But
he's going to get his face kicked off.
He is going to get his face kicked off here. This seems like it might be the rock bottom for Johnny Gargano's slide into madness. As he has been slowly being turned to the dark side by his obsession with Tommaso Ciampa. And lost a dream because he was so obsessed and took out Aleister Black. I think Black kicks his face off.
So we're pretty much in agreement that Aleister Black is taking this one.
Yes, I am. Yeah, he gets his redemption. Johnny gets his comeuppance, and has to start working on his redemption arc. Maybe that's what I kind of assume the way things are going. You're going to see Johnny rematching with Ciampa on WrestleMania weekend.
You think they'd wait that long, or would they do it at the Rumble?
I think they do it WrestleMania weekend. because it's like it's such a huge match. And, they did Johnny versus, they did the two against each other for 3 takeovers in a row. I think you need to get away from it for a little while longer.
Yeah.
So that's what I think.
Well, speaking of Tommaso Ciampa, he is defending his title against Velveteen Dream. I think Ciampa wins it.
Yeah, me too. I unfortunately, as much as I would love to see the Dream take it, I just think it's got to stay on Ciampa. He's been so good as the dickhead champion. Everybody hates him.
He's such a dickhead.
Yeah, I just feel like in the end, he has to lose it to Johnny Gargano, and that has to be the end of kind of Gargano's redemption after this past year of going to the dark side and whatnot. But this should be an awesome match, I am sure.
I can't wait. It should be really good. But I think the main attraction that we're here for with NXT TakeOver War Games is the War Games match.
War Games. Yeah, that's going to be going on last for sure, I'm sure.
I would hope so. They have it listed number 3 on Wikipedia, but fuck that. This is easily the main event.
What are you going to, because it's going to make a mess.
It's the name of the goddamn event.
Yeah, it's going to make a mess. It's going to be like 40 minutes long. It's going to make a big mess. So,
but we've got the Undisputed Era.
Yep.
The Undisputed Era, Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong going against Pete Dunne, Ricochet, and the War Raiders. I'm kind of bummed Mustache Mountain's not involved, but I think they're going to get involved.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get involved.
No, you don't think so?
No, they live in NXT UK now. Like I don't think they've been on NXT TV since they lost their rematch. I don't even remember the last time I saw those guys. So, yeah, I can't imagine seeing them here.
Who do you think goes over in this match, though? My money's on the Undisputed Era. I think they're just too much of a cohesive unit.
Yep.
And they're just going to wreck themselves and wreck the opponents and take a brutal, brutal victory. Yeah,
no, I totally agree. They are the unit that is a team. The other guys are it's a tag team. The North American champion Ricochet and Pete Dunne, who those, Pete Dunne and Ricochet did tag and were good tagging together. And the War Raiders, I just think, the cohesion of the Undisputed Era, Bobby Fish back, which is great. The Era at full strength, finally. I wonder if they're going to start defending the tag team champion with the Freebird rule.
That's what I've been wondering, too.
Since originally it was O'Fish and Riley that won it.
O'Fish?
O'Fish, you heard me. O'Fish. Yeah, that was their tag name, right? O'Fish. Bobby Riley and Kyle O'Fish.
Kyle O'Fish.
Yeah, and again, this would be the second year in a row that the Undisputed Era won the War Games, too.
Which I wouldn't mind if the Undisputed Era just stayed in NXT and ruled War Games matches.
Yeah, I think when they move up, that's a big move because that's 4 guys all at once, and that's a big faction. And I would, you always hope that when guys get called up to the main roster that they'll be good and make a big impact and not just like lose matches and or fade into obscurity like so many NXT call-ups do, just get lost in the shuffle. But then you get guys like Elias who just take off.
Yeah. Then you have last year's War Game competitor, Sanity, who is doing fuck all on the main roster.
Yeah. Well, hey, they're on the Survivor Series card. Nick is back with them, so they got that. But yeah, there's so many others that are just like, what are you doing? Former NXT champion Cien Almas just like
doing
to the Stars on SmackDown.
Jobber to the Stars.
Yeah.
Do you really think Nikki Cross is pulled up full time? Because they didn't mention her at all this past week on SmackDown.
I think she is. Oh my gosh, please. Like, you can't have her up there with Sanity and then have her just disappear again. Like, come on now.
Maybe they did it as a special UK thing because they were over there.
Maybe it's possible. It is possible. They did have like Pete Dunne on a show at some point because they were just over there. So, that wasn't like a call up. So that is possible, but like her part in NXT seems to be done at this point.
Shit, I remember the one SmackDown I went to, of all people, Oni Lorcan was in a match on SmackDown.
That's random.
Yeah. Just a one and done. That was it.
He's one-y. One-y and two-y.
One-y and two-y. But yeah, overall, it looks like an insane War Games card. I think it is going to be awesome.
Every Takeover card is always great and exciting. And it's like, oh man, how can they keep doing this? And they just do, because they are able to build stories for 3 months and then pay them off.
Yeah.
Like the way WWF wrestling used to be when there was an F involved.
Yeah, and then they got the F out, and then they ended up having 400 pay-per-views a year, and they just, everything's watered down.
Yep,
I like the way NXT does it, where not everybody is on every show.
Yeah.
Shit's smart.
Yeah, but somehow they managed to pack in, like, you know, into an hour, they pack in like 3 or 4 matches along with backstage segments and interviews in between and get more done than a 3-hour episode of Raw. But, you know, different masters, et cetera, et cetera. Anyways.
1 year, Triple H will take over and maybe everything will come back together.
Change. Well, you know, not that, again, to dip into the rumor mill, supposedly when SmackDown moves to Fox wants it to be a more serious, more sports-oriented show. Mm-hmm. So they may lose a lot of the Vince McMahon nonsense silliness and actually buckle down a bit more.
I wouldn't mind. It would also open up a lot more actual competition between Raw and SmackDown, where Raw is the entertainment, SmackDown is the action.
Kind of the way it's been, but yeah, it would widen that gap for sure.
Kind of like how it was in the glory days of SmackDown with like Eddie and Batista and Benoit.
SmackDown 6. You can't say that. You can't say that.
Oops.
God, okay, well, we're not streaming live anymore. I'm sure they just took us off the air. You said the word.
Sorry, I meant Benoit.
Said the word.
Shit. Oh, well. Speaking of main roster, Survivor Series is also happening this weekend. Right off the bat, I don't think it's going to be as good as War Games.
No, there's not enough on the line. I mean, like, I am interested in the matches, the interbrand matches and the Survivor Series matches it's usually just fun to watch. It's pretty low stakes for the most part, but it's fun to watch, and you get to see stuff that you actually don't get to see very often, if ever, which we will get into for sure.
I'm sure we will. So let's start at the bottom. Buddy Murphy versus Mustafa Ali.
Which doesn't have the pre-show tag on it for some reason.
Yet.
Yeah. It would be, I would love for the damn cruiserweight title match to be on the main card for a change. That would be
nice.
Because both of these guys are really good, Buddy Murphy and Mustafa Ali. And like 205 Live has also been secretly really good since before WrestleMania. Because they wrestle matches and have like good storylines and whatnot.
I'm guilty of not watching 205 Live. I really need to. I don't
watch it enough. It's just hard to have time. But
I wish it were on TV where I could hit record and then watch it at my leisure instead of having to open an app on my Xbox.
Oh my gosh.
Find the episode.
Poor delicate baby.
I am.
I don't want to have to open an app to pull up my
open an app, search for an episode. Dude, that requires work. I already went over while you weren't here that work is just too much for me. Clearly.
All right. Lazy. Anyways, yeah, Buddy Murphy won the title at the Australia show because he's from Australia. And I don't see any reason why he'd lose here. I mean, Mustafa Ali is fucking awesome, but I think Buddy Murphy retains.
Yeah, I don't see them changing titles here at all.
Yeah, they don't seem like they want a hot shot. Even since basically since Neville got his hands on it when he was king of the cruiserweights, they have not been big on really hot shotting that thing around. Like for a week, like remember when Tozawa was champ for a week?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Remember like Tozawa?
Yeah, remember Tozawa? He's still on the show. Remember when Enzo Amore was on the show, and then Kalisto won it from him for a week?
I won't lie, I miss Enzo. I miss the Zo train.
That guy's a fucking asshole. Oh,
true.
Man.
Very true.
Yeah, not wrong. Yeah, it should be a great match. Should be a really great match. Potentially the best match on the show, really, in terms of pure wrestling. But yeah, I see Buddy Murphy winning.
Yeah, especially now that some of the main events have been changed.
Yeah.
But, next match, this one is listed as a pre-show match. It is the 5 tag team on 5 tag team So it's going to be like 11 on 11 or 12 on 12, something
where
ridiculous.
You can't see the action because there's 20 guys standing around the outside of the ring.
Yeah. But we've got Team Raw filled up with Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, who are the captains somehow.
I'm shaking my damn head over here.
The Revival, the B Team.
No, excuse me. That is the shell of the Revival. Speaking of things that got called up from NXT and were never the same.
Point taken. The B Team Lucha House Party, which, hey, Kalisto is at least still doing something, huh?
Lucha House Party just sliding over onto Raw because they needed another team for this match. Like they started showing up like 3 weeks ago out of nowhere, and it's like, what the Oh, okay.
They're on Raw now. Yeah, we got it.
Yeah. I mean, they're still on 205 Live. I mean, I think, whatever. I think Superstars should kind of, if they're on 205 Live, I think they can also be on the other shows as needed.
Just have some mingling, interbrand mingling.
Seriously. So dumb.
But
and the Ascension,
Yeah, the Ascension. There's
Speaking
another
of
NXT call-up.
They went about as far as I thought they would. But yeah, man, it's crazy those guys haven't been released.
I think they have some of the best theme music around.
Sure.
I love their theme song.
I miss them on the Fashion Police episodes. Oh, that shit was so good.
Where the hell are they?
Well,
Fandango.
He's injured, so Breezy is just in there jobbing every now and then. Poor guy.
Which, speaking of NXT call-ups that have gone fuck all.
Shaking my damn head.
It's a theme. But that's Team Raw. They were going against Team SmackDown, led by the Usos, which is
the only team you need to beat the entire Raw tag team, really.
But they have backup in the form of the New Day,
who
Sanity.
Also could beat the entire Raw team all by themselves.
Very true. Sanity.
Maybe not.
Gallows and Anderson.
The Good Brothers.
And the Colognes.
Bet you didn't know they were still employed. They showed up on that promo on SmackDown. I'm like, what the fuck? Those guys, those guys have been in the company for so damn long, just hanging around.
What do they do?
They were, because I mean, think back to like when Carlito was there, because he was tagging with Primo, I think.
I think so.
They were both around back then, and then they were the Colognes, and then they were Los Matadors, and they went back to be
the
then
Shining
they were
Stars.
Yeah, they were the Shining fucking Stars selling their land share, which was weird, and then they just became the Colognes again. Like, man, these guys are like freaking wrestling cockroaches, which isn't really an insult. It's just kind of amazing. Like
they don't go away.
They don't go away, man.
They show up when you least expect it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised when I saw them in that backstage segment on SmackDown. How good did that backstage segment look? Who is doing the production on the Usos stuff?
I don't know. Usos are great, man. They are awesome.
So Team Raw, Team SmackDown, who do you think takes this one?
Team fucking SmackDown. Unless something crazy happens, I just have to think that the Usos and or the New Day should just be crushing the other side, which is, Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, who are like together to break up. The Revival, who have been nerfed so hard since NXT. The B Team, which are a joke that's still going on.
With
Lucha
awful
House
music.
Party, which is great, but, they're cruiserweights, so I don't know. WWE doesn't think much of them. And the Ascension, who have been, been in the background for years and years and years. At least on the SmackDown side, Sandy's relatively new. And, the Usos and the New Day are like the two best tag teams in the company. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty easy one. I don't see Raw taking this one at all. I would be amazed if they even eliminate anyone except the Colognes.
Yeah.
I guess the Good Brothers could go too, but I would like to see Sanity stick around.
Yeah. It would be cool if Sandy got like a spotlight, get Nikki Cross involved.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But speaking of tag teams, the tag team championship for Raw, we've got, between Raw and SmackDown, we've got AOP, who are no longer the Authors of Pain, with Drake Maverick, versus The Bar with The Big Show. AOP.
I mean, I think it would be great if the AOP won, because they beat one man to become champions, and this would be a great way to, like, solidify them. Like, yeah, okay, if they can beat The Bar. But, man, it just seems like Big Show's probably just going to slowly put his fist into someone's face and that's how they're going to lose. But fucking WMD, whatever. So stupid.
He looked so bad on SmackDown. Did you see him trying to stand up after that pinfall?
No,
Something's fucked up with his knee.
No, but man, maybe they'll just have the AOP wreck Big Show too. I mean, that dude he's done in like the spring. He does not have much left. I believe he said he's retiring at the end of his contract, so he's just kind of hanging around. Legend, been around for a long time in WWE, but
he's just not doing anything anymore. I don't even know how he fits in with the bar.
I heard him complain. He was on like Jericho's podcast complaining about it's like, if you're not going to use me, don't make me show up at Raw,
Yeah.
Or SmackDown or wherever. Just let me stay home. Like, I don't mind coming out and doing the house shows and like working matches, but if you're not going to have me do anything on TV, don't invite me.
Show up and just does like the Connor Cure segment and that's it.
Yeah.
Like I got
he's old.
dressed
He hasn't
for
got
this.
time for this shit. Yeah, seriously. Just traveling around for no reason. Man's got a family. I hope the AOP win. Just to come back around to it is like, I would love to see them get a strong win here to kind of and I think it would be good and necessary to solidify them as champions. That's like, oh, okay, shit, they beat the bar.
Yeah, otherwise they're just going to be another joke, kind of like Sanity's become and the Revival is and the Ascension are.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah, unless they're just holding the belts until some other two single stars come together to beat them for it, which, blah.
Wouldn't shock me at this point.
Blah. Vomit.
The 5-on-5 women's match. We've got Team Raw of Mickie James, Nia Jax, Tamina, Natalya, and Ruby Riott going up against Team SmackDown of Carmella, Naomi, Sonya Deville, Asuka, and someone.
Yeah, because Charlotte
it is no longer Charlotte because
got a new appointment.
Yeah, which we'll get to soon.
Maybe they'll just put Mandy Rose on the team. That seems like the most logical thing, I guess.
Probably, but I'm kind of hoping that we'll see like a surprise return. I don't know, maybe Nikki Cross.
Yeah, that would be good. That's even better. Yeah, I like your idea better. Put oh my God, that would be great. Put Nikki Cross on there.
I love Nikki Cross. She's batshit crazy.
Yeah, no, I like your idea. I'm all on board. Signed. Now, if it's not Nikki Cross, now if it is Mandy Rose, I'm going to be disappointed.
Corey Graves wouldn't be happy with you.
Nikki, I know.
I want to play.
But yeah, potentially gives them the fun of the secret partner if they play it up. But this is another case where I think SmackDown should win, mainly because of Asuka. Asuka was the sole survivor for Raw last year, when she was on Raw. That's right.
I would hope so, but they just had her tap on mixed match challenge this week.
But they had her tap out to Charlotte, which she's done before, and they wanted to make Charlotte look good before the
fighting.
As we will come to see. So like they still generally protect Asuka, even if they don't really have her do much. I mean, like her tagging with Naomi is fun, and they are really fun on social media. But yeah, like she's in this weird kind of holding pattern where they're just not having her dominate the title scene, but they haven't really just had her. They know better than to have her job out to everyone at the same time. So I still see her and Naomi, I think, are really the core of that team. But maybe, it'll come, maybe they're going to have Nia Jax and Tamina pop off.
Oh, fucking Nia Jax.
But also people are pissed off at Nia Jax for freaking beating Becky Lynch on Monday and screwing up the main event. So,
yeah, what do you think of that situation, to take a little aside here?
I mean, Nia Jax has hurt a lot of people by being sloppy in the ring this year. And she really beamed her one, like with that punch. Like that was a freaking just punch to the face. So
that was just, didn't pull it, wasn't an open fist, it wasn't a loose fist, it was just a straight up punch to the fucking face.
Yeah, it was not good when your job is to not do that.
Yeah.
When your job is to not wreck people's faces before huge matches, so politically she could get punished, or, who knows what. Maybe she'll be the first one out of the match. Like it seemed like maybe like the core of her and Tamina. Fucking Tamina.
Why is Tamina still a thing?
My favorite thing is the description of her like her Superfly splash looks like a cat falling out of a tree.
I haven't heard that. That's good.
Yeah, it's like on the Raw side, I really like Ruby Riott. I will always love Mickie James.
Yeah.
My wife loves Nia Jax. Tamina is garbage. Natalya is also not great.
At least she's not farting anymore.
And she's the only baby face on the team. Team SmackDown, Carmella has been a lot of fun with her R-Truth dance break thing. Naomi's great. Sonya Deville I really like. Asuka's great.
And then TBA.
TBA, always fun. I mean, really, I can't think of anyone they would put on there that I wouldn't like that's on the SmackDown roster. Like, even Lana would be fun.
Lana would be like the first one out, too.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. She'd dance and then she'd be gone. But yeah, I think that's another notch for SmackDown. I should probably think harder about like who's getting what wins, what brand is getting what wins. I think they were saying that Raw is 2-0 against SmackDown at the past two Survivor Series, like in terms of winning. So of course
Raw's going to win again.
Maybe, but maybe this is the year SmackDown wins.
Yeah, I kind of doubt it, mainly because of the main events.
Yeah, we'll see.
But so far we've got Team SmackDown for the tag team match, AOP, and the women's Team SmackDown. So you've got 2-1 for SmackDown.
2-1. All right.
Well, let's go with the men's 5-on-5 match. Team Raw's got Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, and Bobby Lashley, with Captain Baron Corbin against Team SmackDown of The Miz, Shane McMahon, Rey Mysterio, Samoa Joe, and Jeff Hardy.
Well, Team SmackDown has the best wrestler in the world on their team, Shane McMahon. So they should just win in a rout again, right?
Allegedly.
Man, talk about shit that's hard to predict. Like, remember how last year, like, Triple H put himself on the team to turn on Angle?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And then Braun got real pissed at him. They still won.
Where did that go?
Team Raw still won, I think. I don't remember things.
Yeah, they won that match.
Not these things. Yeah, they won that match, and then I remember Braun being like getting ready
you son of a bitch
to give those hands to yeah.
But this year, what do you think? I think Team Raw wins this one between Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman. Yeah, I don't think they're going to lose.
I think that those are the anchors of the team unless they take each other out. But the whole thing is that Braun Strowman needs to play nice in order to get his hands on Baron Corbin and his future match against Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Which, who knows when that's going to happen? Because he has to train for an MMA fight?
Then again, you got to wonder if Brock's ever actually going to fight in the UFC again, because there have been rumors going around that USADA popped him again. Which I wouldn't be shocked.
Oh, I was like, who's USADA? Like cousin of Umaga, USADA.
Yeah. Umanga.
Yeah, Umanga.
But there's rumors that Lesnar got popped for drugs again, which I wouldn't be shocked. Again, this is all just rumor. No one knows for sure. Nothing has come out, but it just seems weird that they hyped up Lesnar and Daniel Cormier, and then that just kind of went nowhere.
Yeah. No, I don't see anything. Yeah, who knows? I think it's just rumor and speculation. We'll see. Oh, Brock. Man, I honestly, I know. I just want to see John Jones and Daniel Cormier again. And I think that's the last thing in the world that Daniel Cormier wants. That dude just wants to win another match and retire and get the hell away from that conversation.
Yeah, and that'll never happen with John Jones.
Yeah. Yeah, no, well, because John Jones kicked his ass. So.
But anyway, Team Raw and Team SmackDown, I think Raw takes it, and that would make it 2-2.
I think that is a good assessment. Yeah.
So next up, we just talked about him, Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman versus the new WWE champion, Daniel Bryan.
Evil Daniel Bryan.
Evil Daniel Bryan.
Evil ball kicking, face stomping after the match, not talking to the interviewer, Daniel Bryan.
We got to get this out of the way. SmackDown happened, and AJ Styles, WWE champion, got into a little kerfuffle with Daniel Bryan, and Shane McMahon made the match. Styles, Bryan for the championship on the go-home show to Survivor Series, and Daniel Bryan won dirty.
Which, and what's also interesting is that last year we were originally in store for a Jinder Mahal Brock Lesnar match, and then they had AJ win it like 2 weeks before Survivor Series.
Which, thank God for that one.
Thank God for that. Which gave us the dream match of AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar. And now we have the even crazier dream match of Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar. With also the craziness of Daniel Bryan being the champion and suddenly going heel. A lot happened.
Out of nowhere. I think it's a good call for Daniel Bryan to go heel. I think his face run has gotten kind of stale. He was pretty much just the only thing people cared about really was the yesing, because it was fun and easy to do.
Dude, that motherfucker needs to show up clean shaven with a short haircut on Sunday.
Or buzz cut.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then again, I kind of liked him with the long hair. Did you see the picture of him in the back holding the belt? Yep. With the long hair in his face? I think he looked mean as fuck.
Yeah, but I mean, just to totally go clean cut, corporate champion. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's always good when characters flip to really make a significant change, in their appearance and whatnot. So
now, who do you think takes this one? Lesnar, Daniel Bryan? This is a tough one. This is a toss-up. If it was Lesnar and AJ, I would have said Lesnar wins it again. But against Daniel Bryan, after they just put the belt on him, I don't know.
I think there will be shenanigans.
Probably.
You don't think AJ Styles is going to show up and frickin' interfere and cost Daniel Bryan the match?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then Shane can get mad at AJ Styles for costing SmackDown the match. I'm kind of assuming this is going to go on last now that Ronda versus Lynch isn't happening. So maybe this is the thing, it comes down to this match, and then AJ blows it for SmackDown, and then has to face the ire of Shane McMahon and trying to get his championship back. And maybe Bryan cozies up to Shane because they were working together back when Daniel Bryan was general manager or commissioner, whatever the fuck he was. It doesn't matter. He was in charge. He had Paige's job.
That makes a lot of sense. That really does.
That's how I see this going. Because I just can't see Lesnar losing. If they didn't have him lose to Braun Strowman in Saudi Arabia. Oh, we can't say that either. Shit.
At Crown Jewel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. At Crown Jewel, wherever on the earth. At Parts Unknown.
Parts Unknown. Yeah, that's it.
Where they held that. Yeah. Yeah, I think Brock just ends up winning. But I hope it's a good, fun, competitive match. Brock brought his working boots against AJ Styles. I hope he does the same against Daniel Bryan. And they have a great match. And it's not just a Brock German fest, because nobody wants to see that anymore.
Yeah, it's good when Brock gives a shit, because when he gives a shit, you get amazing matches out of him.
He is top 5 wrestler of all time when he gives a shit. Dude. When he's lazy, whatever.
Yeah.
When he's there to get the check, whatever.
So this one goes to Lesnar. That puts Raw up 3-2.
Oh, man.
Next up is Seth Rollins, Intercontinental Champion, against Shinsuke Nakamura, the U.S. Champion. I think this is more shenanigans. I think Dean Ambrose gets involved and Shinsuke wins it.
Oh, so you think.
That Maybe. Is my guess.
That's a strong opinion. That's a strong argument right there.
What is your opinion?
Well, I guess in a vacuum, I would say that Seth Rollins wins because he's the man, and he's a man. He's not the man, all caps.
Yeah, Becky Lynch is the man.
She is the man. But Seth Rollins has been very, very. He has been very, very good this year as Intercontinental Champion. And Shinsuke Nakamura, you probably just remember that he was United States Champion and still on the show.
Yeah.
Has he defended it? I don't even he won it, and then he's just been in the backstage talking about the United States of Knock America.
Yeah, what the fuck has he done?
Somehow they just forgot about Shinsuke Nakamura. Seemingly, just kind of not really doing much of anything, that guy. So this would be a man. I hope this match is great, because you'd think it would be with Seth Rollins and Shinsuke Nakamura. Good Shinsuke Nakamura.
I think this has the potential to be the match of the show.
Yeah, if they let them go, if they just let there's nothing really on the line here except your imaginary bragging rights. Just let these guys fucking tear it up and have an awesome match,
Yeah.
Just go nuts. I like that ending, that shenanigans ending that you just described.
That would be 2 shenanigans in a row.
Well, they're not going to be on the show in this order. They're going to break up the big tag matches.
True.
So,
but that would make it 3-3, and it would
not like multiple shenanigans endings would ever stop the WWE fucking E. God, gee, fucking whatever.
WWE likes their shenanigans.
Yeah.
But the final match, Ronda Rousey, Raw Women's Champion, against, well, it was supposed to be Becky Lynch, but Nia Jax fucked that up, so Charlotte Flair is stepping in. This was rumored to be like the WrestleMania headliner of Rousey and Flair.
Yeah, that's what I had heard. That was like that was like why Asuka ended up just kind of losing to Charlotte at last year's WrestleMania, is that they got kind of cool on Asuka. Vince doesn't like that she doesn't speak much English. Like, she's Japanese. She has great expressions. Whatever. As a huge Asuka fan, there's some bitterness there. But yeah, I read okay, well, the thing they're going to build to is Ronda versus Charlotte next year.
First ever women's main event at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and honestly, I felt like they could have done that with Charlotte and Asuka this year, but that's me. But yeah, then Becky Lynch fucking happened at SummerSlam, and has
exploded in popularity.
Exploded, and they have finally embraced that a bit instead of still treating her like a heel. Like, they're actually just like, okay, yeah, no, people like her. We get it. All right, fine, we'll shut up. I mean, she has just become more and more badass by the week, even with getting her face broken. Like, the visuals of her,
standing there bloodied,
smashing Ronda with a chair and just posing and just she is a freaking badass. And has just been roasting Ronda Rousey on Twitter, left and right. It is hilarious. Because Ronda's just bringing this weird, millennial thing against her. They were born, 3 days apart.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think Becky's actually a few days older than Ronda is. I
didn't know that.
One was born the January 31st. The other was born February 2nd of 1987. They're the same fucking age.
Oh my God, that makes me feel so old. 87.
I know, right?
Oh, my back hurts.
Just thinking about it. But yeah,
my arthritis is flaring up.
This match, which, oh man, that Rousey versus Lynch match, and I hope they're now looking at that and being like, maybe we could build to that for WrestleMania, because holy crap.
That would be crazy if they changed it to Rousey and Lynch at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
that would set the world on fire.
They want to do, they better come back around to that match because people want to see it. I don't think it's over. They have the whole back thing of the MMA 4 horsewomen and the NXT 4 horsewomen. I'm sure they want to do that match 4v4 at some point. So this could be a good chapter in that, depending on how things go down. I have to think, with it Charlotte in there, that Rousey's going to win. I have to think that. I don't think you're going to see Lynch interfere. I think she just wants to beat people straight up.
Do you think Lynch shows up at all in some way?
Maybe. I'm wondering if this match could break down into shenanigans between the aforementioned 4 horsewomen factions.
And that would be a good way to get Sasha and Bayley on the show as well.
Yes, who are not on the show. Yeah, maybe they'll show up. Maybe the Shayna and her crew will show up for NXT, and instead of Ronda and Charlotte, they turn it into a 4-on-4 Survivor Series match. Just right out there. Becky, we said you couldn't wrestle, but you're gonna have to. Fuck you. Fuck you. The champ does what the champ wants. But also, with Lynch unable to wrestle, you could have a 4v3 beatdown by Ronda and her horsewomen, to put the odds against them. And I don't know. Yeah. And then Becky comes in with a chair. Then Becky comes in with a chair and runs them off.
She can't wrestle, but she could hit people.
She can swing chairs at people, yeah. I'm also glad that it's not so severe that they took the belt off her. That would have been just crushing.
Oh, man. That would have been heartbreaking.
Yeah. I hope they keep her on TV. I mean, like, I hope she's just like, okay, well, I'll be back at, like, the Rumble or whatever. And also, to be fair, I am glad they're taking care of people who have concussions these days. Whereas there was a point, you know, seemingly not too long ago where someone would get a concussion and she would still be in this match, you know?
Yeah.
But now it's like, oh, you have a concussion, like you're taking time off. Like I've read that they might actually have Alexa Bliss be a authority figure for a little while because she's had a couple concussions this year.
Again, partially from Nia Jax and apparently Ronda as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, Ronda's in her first fucking year, so.
Yeah. Nia's been around. She's
just awful. Nia's just awful.
Well, Alexa's also a tiny little girl, so yeah. I think it's adorable that she travels with Braun Strowman. It's hilarious. That's so good. But yeah, I'm hoping for I'm hoping they just let the champions go at each other and have some great matches. I hope the big Survivor Series tags are, you know, fun if nothing else, which they usually are.
But to step back, you're going with Ronda on this?
Yeah. I guess at the end of the day, this looks like another Raw victory.
Raw 4-3. Is it 4-3 or 3-2? One of those.
4-3.
Fucking numbers.
There's 7 matches, so therefore, yeah.
Good stuff. Numbers are fun.
Yep.
Yeah, so it looks like Raw's going to take it.
Yeah, again.
Shocker.
Well, but if our picks are to be believed, it's going to be another Raw victory, but...
Then again, if it comes down to the main event being Lesnar and Bryan, that could go either way.
We'll see.
I think that one's a toss-up.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that would be funny if, like, Braun Strowman plays nice for the tag match, but then goes and, like, fucks up Lesnar, and he's like, well, you didn't tell me I had to stay out of the main event. Yeah.
Oh, man, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Who knows, man? Things could go...
Anything can happen in the WWE.
I'm just saying, 24 hours ago, Daniel Bryan was, as of this recording, Daniel Bryan was not the champion.
Yeah.
So, yeah. 48 hours ago, Becky Lynch was still in that match. So a lot changed in 2 days.
What do you think's going to happen in the 3 days before the events happen?
Man, well, no, hopefully nobody gets hurt. That's all I can say. Hopefully no one gets hurt and everyone makes the show just fine and we have a good show.
Hope so. But yeah, that's the full card. That is everything NXT Survivor Series. Do you have any other thoughts or any other predictions that you think is going to happen?
I don't think we're going to see Sting again this year.
Are we going to get an Elias segment somewhere in there?
Yeah. He seems, yeah.
Because he's been blowing up. It seems like we need some kind of singing segment with him.
Yeah, it seems like he gets in there to do a quick comedy segment. You know,
hello, I am Elias.
Yeah. Yep. Poor guy ends up not wrestling on very many cards because they use him as the entertainment break. It
works for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think who else isn't scheduled that could show up. We mentioned Dean. We mentioned AJ. Yeah.
I feel so bad for AJ. He went from a 371 day reign.
Yeah, can't say that out loud.
To just off the show.
Yeah. Hey.
That's crazy.
That's how it crumbles, man. Hey, he smoked Jinder. He did the same thing to poor Jinder Mahal.
Oh, don't give me that shit. Fuck Jinder. Jinder deserved everything he got with that loss.
Yeah.
He never should have been champ to begin with.
Oh, God. What the fuck happened? You know, I was thinking the other day that I missed, and this is totally off the reservation. I miss Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens already.
Yeah, hopefully they're back soon.
But hopefully they'll be back by Mania. Miss those guys.
Who else is out injured? Who could surprise show up?
Oh, I don't know. Joe's on there. Well, I mean, if Roman Reigns beat cancer real fast. Holy crap. I don't think John Cena's going to show up.
I don't think we're going to see Cena for a while.
Nah, he's busy.
Mr. Hollywood now.
Mr. Hollywood.
All those years ago, he fought against The Rock for being Mr. Hollywood, and now John Cena is Mr. Hollywood.
Yeah. And John Cena shows up and seems to give way less of a shit than, at least when The Rock would show up after going Hollywood, like he'd make the most of his appearances, but John Cena just is phoning it in when he shows up. All right.
Rapadoo. All right. Well, that is it for this section of the show. We're going to take a quick little break. We'll be back. We are going to have an interview still to come on the show. Interview, news, reviews. This is going to be a long one.
Oh, so, boy. Sorry.
Tim, thank you for coming on and chatting Wrassles with me. Do you have any final thoughts before we move on?
No, I do not. Get me out of here. Tag me out. I'm eliminated. You're the sole survivor.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for sticking around. We got a lot more show to take care of. I am joined right now, Mike Palotas. How are you doing today?
Pretty good, Joe. How are you doing?
I am doing just great. Lots to talk about. You are here to discuss your brand new game, StickType, just released on Xbox One. For the people who don't know what this game is, give us the sales pitch.
It's just a real simple, old school, gameplay over graphics, side scroller platformer. Really, it was originally a prototype for a more advanced 2D platformer game, but a lot of people were seeing the little stick figure I had as temp artwork, and they said, "Hey, that's pretty cool. You should make a game." And so, all throughout 2017, I spent a little time on it each day, and never really worked on the graphics, but turned it into a full blast 2D game with about 100 levels or so.
And it has been steadily kicking my ass.
It turned out a little harder. It was supposed to be a big learning experience, and one of the biggest things I learned from it is, you play your own game over and over as you debug it and evolve it, and you get good at it, and you have to realize that not everybody's going to be that good when they first start to play. So it turned out a bit harder, but I did a bunch of things to hopefully make it a bit easier for people as they get onto it.
What kind of things did you do to try making it easier? Which you didn't, by the way. It is still brutally difficult.
I apologize. So one thing, I did a full run through to find all the secrets and post it on YouTube. But the big thing I did was add extra characters. So you start off with one playable character, which is it's hard, as you know. But there are other hidden characters you can unlock, which make it a lot easier. They all have their own individual traits. Some don't die when they touch spikes; they just take damage. Some have 500% defense, so you can last a lot longer. Some are bulletproof, and some are big combinations of that. So if you find the right guy, you should be able to get a lot farther than you would otherwise with a normal original character.
See, I need to just pick a strong character and roll with that. I'm too busy trying to find all the secrets, so when I found a character that lets you see all the secrets as you're playing, I, of course, had to go with that and start over. Why is it that we have to start over and we can't just switch a StickType on the fly?
So that was something... I don't know, because I didn't think of that in time. So these 50 characters. So this game actually started off as a creators program game.
Okay.
Which was free, and that was out for the first half of the year. And when ID at Xbox saw the number of downloads and the reviews it got, they let it into the ID Xbox, and the game is pretty much unchanged. I just added, I kind of had that idea to add those 50 unlockable characters for the ID at Xbox version. So that was a very late addition, and that came in pretty hot. And I just, the game wasn't really designed to switch characters or anything midway through. So yeah, I botched that up. So, but again, this was a whole learning experience, and I learned a lot of things, and that's one of them. So, yeah. But actually, my real answer is replay value. So you get more. No, that's not a good answer.
That's the PR answer. There you go.
Yeah, no good at that.
So is this your first game?
This is my first officially shipped game. Yeah, I've always done, a bunch of side projects. Did some night classes at DigiPen, which is a video game school, and, built some video games for that, built some video games for prototyping at work. But this is the first one that I've, this was the one that actually reached my dreams. I always wanted to ship a console game, and this was it. So, and hopefully there'll be more. It's been kind of hard, but I just want to see if I could do it, and do it in a year, and yeah. So first game, yeah.
I know the game took off with a couple of blog posts. People are wondering, why isn't this game getting that much attention? How did that feel to see people talking about your game? It's like, hey, you guys need to check this out.
It felt great, actually, that people liked it so much that they were, calling it out and stuff and trying to get attention. The overall good reviews and stuff just meant a lot. I know when I'm looking for games, if I find like these just, these games I've never heard of and just play and I just enjoy it, it's as exciting to me as it is playing a big quadruple A title that everybody's looking forward to. It's like a my little treasure that I found, and it sounds. I've had a lot of people tell me this game was that for them, and that's really it. All I wanted is a game that people start playing, and it's just kind of they have a play it for a few hours, and it's just a good memorable experience. And, because all my childhood games were like that, Super Metroid, Castlevania and stuff,
Oh, you're speaking my language, Super Nintendo.
Yeah. And if I can recreate that for, people, mission accomplished for me.
So you're a Super Nintendo fan growing up, or did you have a Sega Genesis? Which side were you on?
I was the Super Nintendo guy. My friend was the Sega Genesis, and yeah, we had some tough Mario versus Sonic fights in there, but I was the Super Nintendo guy.
Me too. It's just a better system. What are you going to do?
The megahertz were down a little, but they made for it. It never had blast processing, if you remember that. But
processing, yeah. That was legit.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good lesson in PR. So,
did any Super Nintendo games that you played influence your designs in StickType?
Yes, actually, I'll call out Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
For the difficulty?
The difficulty, and two, kind of not to spoil it for anybody who's playing through, but kind of the cyclic play. You'll play all the way through the game, and if and when you get to the end...
I like you added if.
Yeah, because not everybody makes it to the end. But yeah, you get to the end, and I can't remember if you can beat Super Ghouls and Ghosts all the way with one try. No, I think you have to go back to get because the power-up you need only exists on the second run. So with StickType, you get to the top again, spoilers. If you don't do something, you'll get kicked off the tower, and you have to run up the tower again on basically a second quest. The enemies will be all different, so it's like a whole different game. But it's, I don't know if there's a term for that game design, but I just call it like a cyclic play as opposed to Metroidvania or linear games. But yeah, that I kind of got from the Ghosts and Goblins, Ghouls and Ghosts gameplay.
Which is a pretty cool feature to have. Not all games let you completely run through it with a second quest, basically.
Yeah, it's not quite the upside down castle, but considering I time boxed this to a year of work, I spent maybe about 2 weeks to a month, and that got me a whole nother playthrough of the game for people to do. So I wasn't planning it originally, but I had too many ideas for the 100 rooms that were there on the first climb, so I basically added this as some more replay value.
Which works. It works really well. You said 100 rooms in the game plus secret areas?
Yeah, so there are 50. Yeah, so there's the 50 unlockable characters, and that's how you kind of, again, spoilers, if you want to beat the game in one tower climb, you get all the 50 characters, and by the time you get to the top, you'll be powerful enough to fight the last boss and defeat him. Otherwise, you have to go through again, and then you'll fight the last boss on the second time and defeat him and get the game there, regardless of how many guys you find. But yeah, there's 50 secret characters, and they're hidden throughout the game. And there's a few secret power-ups that you can find also. So I think there's actually 138 rooms. I looked at the project overall, and then you go through most of those again on the second climb.
50 hidden characters. How many are missable on one run through?
50 of them are missable.
Oh, that is so dickish.
I know. I tried to make the very first one on the first save room kind of enough of a hint on the left to get you notice there's something weird with the wall, and then you walk through it and find your first character as well as a hint about the secret characters.
See, but there's one right before that too. There's a sneaky one right at the very beginning, coming down that drop.
Yeah, and if you find that, then you'll he's actually a good one to get at the very beginning on your first playthrough, and then you can start over as soon as possible and get through most of the game with that guy. So, but yeah, I didn't know how much, especially in this day with YouTube and everybody can find hints online. I remember some of the Castlevania hints. The only time I called up the Nintendo Power hotline to find out a hint, Castlevania 2. I was stuck at a lake, and I had to call the guy up because I didn't know what to do. He had to kneel for a few seconds with the blue crystal. And, how are people going to know that? This day and age, you got the web and stuff. So I just kind of experimented with different levels of difficulty. And but one thing I did include is some of the characters give you the ability to see where secrets lie. So if you can even find one of those in playthrough, you'll at least get a little target flashing, showing you where a secret is. Then you just have to figure out how to get that secret, whether it's walking through a wall, busting down a wall, pressing up to and expose a door, kneeling for a few seconds like Castlevania, or just walking by like DuckTales or something. So I try to put in enough hint helpers, but yeah, you can't get through the game without knowing there's hidden stick types.
Yeah, you're sneaky with some of those. I think I missed one on I think this is my 5th playthrough because I keep switching stick types. During the auto runner sequence against the giant cop dude, right after that, where there's the zombie bodies that fill up the little tunnel that is chasing you. I saw a flashing secret icon during that, and I couldn't figure out how to get it. And I'm guessing there's no way for me to get back to that.
The game, until you do the second run through, no, there's no way to get back through there. On the first run through, at least. I just kind of made it a one-way experience. I mean, I didn't, except for that place where the zombies kind of piped through. I just wanted to kind of change up the gameplay, and that kind of killed the reverse trekking ability in the game. But there's no way to unfortunately go back and get him. Was it up on the where there's a fence in the background and you're heading up?
It's where it's when the bodies first start chasing you, and it's on the right-hand side of the screen when you jump up around a corner.
Oh, okay, yeah, that one you have to actually go into the background at the very beginning of at the very bottom of that room. If you hold, it's a new gameplay mechanic I was testing out. When you're running, you hold, I forget which one it is, but in many places you hold up or hold down as you're running. and it'll actually move you into the background or the foreground. In this case, it moves you into the background behind the fence. You can jump up and get to that secret hidden room.
You are devious.
I was curious to see how many people could pick that up, and again, a learning experience for me and other people. But I really, I love 2D games, but I always thought it'd be cool to add a little more 3D moving in front and behind the layers into them. So I'm trying to figure out how to do that. So this was kind of a experiment. Kind
of like Paper Mario going behind the scenery.
Exactly. So
was Paper Mario an influence on you as well?
It was, but I actually I think Mario RPG a bit better because RPG had the 3D graphics pushed down to 2D sprites, whereas Paper Mario had the opposite. It had the 3D flat polygons animated and stuff. And this game and most of my other games are actually done with kind of the Donkey Kong Country way, where they create the models, animate them, and then push them out to sprites. So I kind of like the Mario RPG a bit better, but I've always liked, I even got the Mario and Luigi games for the Game Boy Advance and stuff like that. So I've always been a fan of those. In fact, I was even thinking about, this character, if he's on polygons, I could flip him around like Mario does. But I just never ended up doing that.
I love Nintendo RPGs. They always seem to knock it out of the park.
Yeah. I remember Mario and the 7 Stars. Well, yeah, the first RPG, and just that. I always liked Final Fantasy and stuff, but they instantly hooked me and made me a fan. And one of these days I want to make a game type of each genre. And if I make an RPG, it'll definitely remind you of a lot of the Mario RPGs.
You said you're a Final Fantasy fan. I got to know, what's your favorite one?
Honestly, I grew up with Final Fantasy 2, the US one, which is, I can't remember, Final Fantasy. One with Cecil and Rydia and stuff like that.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 4, the official name, I guess.
Okay, yeah. I grew up with them, so I kind of like that one. But Final Fantasy 3, which is
6.
6. Okay, 6. Yeah, that one I also liked. Probably I liked it more, but I was a lot younger when I played 4, so it was more. I was more impressionable. And then I also played the After Years, the After Years or whatever, kind of the follow up to 4 that they had on the phone and eventually released, I think, on the Wii or something.
Oh, on WiiWare. Remember that?
Yeah. So that was cool to see the game again.
I never got into the After Years, but I loved Final Fantasy 4. You were correct in saying Final Fantasy 6 was your favorite, because that is the best game. There's no argument there. I don't care what anyone else says. Final Fantasy 6 is the best one.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. In fact, I went back, got the, I forgot which platform I got it on, but had to relive it again recently. So that was good times.
Yeah, I wish they would re-release that one on the current generation of systems.
Yeah, they could release all of them, but especially that one.
So good. I miss that era of gaming in general.
Do you? Yeah, I mean that's at the same time, I love it when I see the indies, trying to recreate that, even with the graphics and the gameplay. I just played what was that, Chasm or something, and it felt like it was just Castlevania Symphony of the Night. A lot of the moves were the same. Just a lot of great, nods to some of the old games. So, we're not alone. It's good to see people putting games out like that.
I just picked that one up. I haven't had time to fire it up yet, but you're saying it's pretty good?
I enjoyed it. I haven't gotten too far because I've been busy with all sorts of things.
Releasing a game. That's right.
A little bit, yeah. There's some maintenance on that. No, I don't know. It's my first release, and for the most part, it went well, but there's been some hiccups, and especially when some of those hiccups have to do with the Xbox Live components that you have to use, and you can't really fix them directly. That's kind of a bit hairy because, I want my users to have the best experience possible. But ID at Xbox is great. I'm a one-person developer, publisher, music composer, not even a big indie developer, and they've just kind of been rolling out the red carpet for me. So that's just it's wow. So but have been busy with, just some of the rolling out. But for the most part, it's been thumbs up.
How did you first get into the ID program, or not the ID, the Creators Club program?
Creators Club was easy. I think I just signed up. There's actually not much you have to do. You have to basically you have to integrate Xbox Live with your game. So depending on how you make your game, I use Unity. You use an Xbox component, a package basically, and they've got examples, and you basically just integrate the example into your game. So the person signs in. Creators program games don't allow achievements or stats and stuff. You have to go into ID at Xbox for that. But yeah, Creators Club, really anybody can, get in there. You just need something to program with, and I think the requirements are fairly minimal. They'll even help you get your game rated. You just go through a bunch of checkboxes, and you can publish it, to the Creators Club, and it'll show up in the kind of its own area in the Microsoft Store. But it will be there for, anybody who wants to check it out. So it's kind of a cool way to get your foot in the door.
How did you make that jump from community to ID? Like, what was the process there?
Originally I applied for ID back when StickType was about halfway done. I sent them some, footage. I sent them the game, and it wasn't. They weren't ready to allow it into ID at Xbox at that point. So I put it into Creators Club. One of the ways to get into Creators Club, if you don't make it on your first scenario or your example, your demo, is to release in Creators Club, and if it does well, then they'll reevaluate it. And that's basically the route I took. I released it in Creators Club. It got thousands of downloads. A lot of people were saying, "Why is this in Creators Club? This should be, ID at Xbox or something." They said it's one of the best ones they've seen from indies, and just a lot of flattering things. And I must have been good enough, because I basically resubmitted it to ID at Xbox, and the next thing I knew, they were accepting it into the program. So I got to go in, add achievements, add stats, and some other tweaks. They were fine as is, and then basically just resubmitted it. Got through. There's more certification to do for ID at Xbox, much higher bar than Creators Club, but I didn't really have much problem with that. And then, 6 months after the initial launch of Creators Program, they got into ID at Xbox, basically.
Nice. You mentioned achievements. We got to bring this up because everyone's been talking about this. You have weird valued achievements in the game, which I love when people do this because it pisses so many other people off.
Okay, at the very beginning, this game was built to piss people off who take their ones digit seriously. I'll bring that up. No, I really did not know there was a big epidemic of OCD people who need their ones digits to be 0 or maybe 5, but preferably 0. That was the biggest. My first review for the ID at Xbox version launch was a 1-star review because somebody was very upset that I botched up his score, and I try to be diplomatic. I try to say, well, you can get, it's still 1,000 points in total. So if you beat the game, and get them all, it should put you backtrack. And he didn't like that excuse. He didn't want to have to beat the game to fix his gamer score. So I apologize here and now. I didn't know it was that big a deal. My gamer score has gotten all sorts of weird digits, but it's always come back to 0 or 5 somehow. So if you just trust in the big circle of life, you'll get back to the digit. That's my philosophy, but not everybody shares that. So maybe in some DLC I'll make an easy way to even out the numbers. But I was curious why nobody did that. I thought it'd be a quirky thing. StickType's a quirky game. Might as well try something different. I like it. I don't care what anyone else says. I like it. I appreciate it. I will always support a game that has odd numbered achievement values because it pisses off so many other people. I love it even more. I guess I'm an asshole. I don't. Oh, no, I mean, half the people are upset about it. The other half are laughing at the first half and they're OCD. So, I felt bad at it at first, but now it's almost kind of fun to watch. But, I don't want to piss anybody off. It's all about fun. So, but yeah, no, I'm glad some people are enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm one of those dicks. I will always love stuff. But what was the inspiration for picking the values you did, or was it all just random?
I calculated it. It took into account a few things: the duration, the average time it took to get into the game, the number of code lines where it shows up in the given file, and then the placement of the moon. And I'm just making this shit up. I just grabbed them. One of my coworkers was upset because she got a 1 point achievement somewhere. So I told her I wouldn't do any 1 point achievements. And so I made the first one a 3 point achievement. And then I went back and added a 1 point achievement for dying 100 times. So I guess I lied. I'm kind of an asshole too. So really, I don't have any numbers. Some of the harder ones are higher, but it's just standard achievement numbers relation to each other, not standard achievement numbers. But I guess I just went through and threw numbers at the wall and made sure they added up to 1,000. So
hey, whatever works, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned dying 100 times. I haven't gotten that one yet. I know I'm getting close to it. What determines the difference between a standard death and a game over? Because I haven't quite understood that yet. And sometimes when you're getting far in, you're really far away from that last save point and you die and it's a game over. And I don't know what the difference is between just an instant death and a game over.
Yep. No, that's a good question. A lot of people have been having that, and that's something I need to clear up. So basically a standard game over, one where you have to start over at the last save point, is one where you lose all your energy, in the top left. That's a game over. And, that's kind of a standard, the standard, you're dead. You get from Castlevania or Metroid, all your energy's gone, it's game over. For this game, it's, things you can't do with like Metroid and, games that have kind of more advanced and longer lived energy sequences, where you lose energy, is like one-hit kills, stuff like that. But that's prevalent on a lot of Mario-type games, fall in a bottomless pit. So I kind of wanted to combine the two and, add bottomless pits and one-hit kills from spikes, stuff like that. So I created this other thing where things will kill you in one hit regardless of where your energy level is at. And again, bottomless pit, the red spikes, touching those will kill you.
Those fucking spikes.
Yeah. Now, there are some guys who can withstand that when you unlock them. But for the most part, they're one-hit kills. And those are what make you restart at the same room with the exact same energy you had left. And those are not game overs. Those are so people, can kind of have fun, doing a sprint through a room with bottomless pits or all sorts of stuff without having to worry about doing a game over if they died. Because, doing a full game over, should you go in a bottomless pit or hit a spike, I figured was
sadistic.
Very sadistic. And I was only wanted to be about 76% sadistic with this game. So that was just instant retries. And I kind of got that from, I think Guacamelee was one of the first ones I saw that. You got energy, but you fall down a bottomless pit and you kind of get resent to the beginning of the room. So I tried to, iterate on that and come up with a gameplay element. The problem is, like you've seen and other people have asked, it's not quite clear. So, people are wondering why sometimes they get a game over as opposed to just a restart in the same room. So that's something I'm going to have to figure out for the next game, how to make that a bit more clear.
What is your next game? Are you already working on it? Is it in production or is it still in the concept phase?
I don't know. I honestly, maybe I should have asked, I was thinking about having a poll in StickType here where people could kind of choose the next game. There's, originally StickType was built for, as a prototype for another game that, the same game engine, same platform stuff, but has actual graphics. And if you scroll to the end of the credits in StickType, you'll see an example of a lot of the enemies and characters I've made for that game. And that's kind of what I was expecting to do, but it's going to be a huge game and it's going to take 5 years. And the hardest thing for this is really just motivation. You get home from work and, do you really want to sit on the computer for something that's going to take 5 years to make? StickType it helped because I had a 1-year time box. So I made a commitment to myself to work on a little each day and ship whatever comes out at the end. So that kind of got me motivated. But, for a 5-year thing, it's kind of hard. So it's either going to be that game, or I've got plans for StickType 2 and StickType 3, just a bunch of stuff that could help me prototype more things for the large game. Or there's also another game I'm working with that actually uses polygons, and it's I'm curious about mixing first-person shooter, third-person shooters, side-scrollers, twin stick shooters, mixing all those gameplay modes into one kind of game where it switches between the different modes, and that could be a recipe for a disaster, but it was kind of a fun coding experience if nothing else, and so that's another thing I'm looking into. But I'm seriously contemplating sticking to the smaller games that I can finish in a year, 6 months, and getting those out, because I haven't. The hardest thing, again, is just finding the motivation to work on something that's such a long-term project.
And you figure StickType turned out so well; it's been getting a lot of good reception. How has the overall gaming community felt about the game so far?
I think a lot of them like it. I'm still waiting for the first reviews to come out. To be honest, it was I wasn't able to get people codes because there were some last-minute cert issues and just weird things happening. So I didn't have the game ready as soon as I had hoped. It only got into the store, or was ready in the store, about a day or two before launch, as opposed to like a week where people could do their reviews and have them ready at the same time the game launched. So I really don't know, but people who have been talking to me, for the most part they like it. There's some minor things, every now hitbox detection they're not too crazy about, or there's a lot of cheap deaths, and I didn't plan that.
Which is expected in a game like this.
Yeah, I mean it's just kind of how it turns out. I don't know if anybody programs cheap deaths on purpose, but they just kind of show up, and but from what I've heard, it's pretty good. The reviews I've gotten have been very good for the most part. Some people give me like a 2-star out of 5, but it's just because nobody else had gave me a 2 stars, so they just wanted to be the first 2-star, and then they review say, really, I give it a 5. So so everything, I appreciate everything. There are people who are very upset with the game. And which I completely understand. A game that's hard. I totally understand them rage reviewing it after they die several times. But for the most part, I've been told very good things about it. So hopefully that will continue. And really, I just hope people enjoy the game.
Well, I've really enjoyed it. I think one of the things helping your case is it's only a $3 game. I would expect a higher price tag on it. It was initially free. Why did you have to have a price tag on it moving to ID? Is it a requirement?
Yeah, it is a requirement for ID at Xbox. Microsoft needs to make some money on it. And there are free games in ID at Xbox and, in the full Xbox program in general. But those always have DLC or other ways to make money off the game. So there has to be some way to monetize the game. So for this, I just wanted to still choose a very low price point where people could, still get into the game with minimal risk. And even then, all the money I'm planning on donating to animal charity. So hopefully, even if they don't like the game, they can at least feel good that they help donate and, help some furry little critters at some point.
I love the furry little critters. I've got 8 cats myself. I think all the listeners know I'm a crazy cat lady deep inside. So a fellow animal lover, I will always support.
That's awesome. Okay, I won't feel crazy for having my cats either. I've been told the same. But it's just they're inspiration. And if you get far into the StickType game, you see where they kind of made their way into that game too. So
I have not made it that far yet, but I will hopefully be able to. It is a challenge for me. It is kicking like I've said, it is just beating me down.
So I'll have some DLC, and I'll have some characters that will help you be a lot stronger. And if you want an easier playthrough, they should help you out. So yeah.
What kind of DLC do you have in mind? Just extra characters? Do you have extra levels in mind? Anything? Any surprise game modes that you might see?
So really, I was just thinking some extra characters. So with the Creators Program version, one of the comments I got was, can we have a female character? And, I thought, well, I didn't really assign any gender to the characters, the stick figures. So I figured they're kind of androgynous enough. But, I spent a lot of time thinking about it and, trying to, how do you represent a female stick character without pushing the boundaries, especially this day and age with being, politically correct and stuff. But at one point, I did put out a female StickType variant, and she was in the Creators Club version, and she was she was my first attempt at making the game easier because she was a lot stronger than the standard character. She hit a lot harder, she could take a lot more hits, and she could even survive touching spikes. So basically she gave the community a female character to pick, and they also helped you get through the game. Now, she's been removed from the first version of StickType because I went through and did the unlockable characters, but she's basically what I'm thinking of doing for the DLC, having her and many variants of her. Pac-Man had Miss Pac-Man, Splosion Man had Miss Splosion Man, and this is kind of the Miss StickType, Stick Lady, I called her. So I want to bring her back, and again, she'll be very cheap price-wise. As a DLC, and then I'm planning on donating that to, various women charities and stuff. So that's a plan. I haven't really thought of new levels or game modes, but I'm always open if people have any ideas. It's not impossible to put these things in. So, but yeah, most of the ideas are kind of going to the next games on my list, whatever it is. More and more I think about it, having StickType 2 and StickType 3, I've got plans for those. So maybe those will be next. So, just curious to see what people say and suggest, and find my path that way.
My suggestion is to allow backtracking so that people could get secrets that they've missed.
That's fair. This was originally just supposed to be a linear game, like, old Mario stuff. But then again, Mario didn't have secrets that you needed to, beat the game and stuff. So that's totally fair. I'll actually see. What I could do is add warp zones, or warp zones are teleport places, so you can actually skip through the levels. I might have to check that out.
I honestly figured that you'd eventually be able to have a way to teleport between the save stations.
Yeah. No, actually, that's not a bad idea. Again, with the whole cyclic where you start over, it does let you catch any secrets that you missed the first time doing that. The problem is the second time up, you're not against stick zombies and kind of dumb enemies. You're up against, spoilers, but there are a lot more. There's a reason some characters are bulletproof. Let's say that. You've got a lot fiercer enemies on the second time up. So granted, you've got all your abilities to use, but there's still a chance for you to get all the secrets that you missed on the first time up, if that makes you feel better.
I'll just start over with another character. I know it'll happen.
That works too.
It's inevitable anyway, so.
Yeah.
So when you're not working on StickType, when you're not hyping it, when you're not doing press, what are you playing? What are you enjoying right now?
I do like the indies. Let's see. So I've actually been holding off on a lot of games while I was waiting for StickType to get released because my gamer score was at 99,900 something. I've been playing Xbox for about 5 years, so I wanted to get to 100,000 with an achievement for my own game. So I've kind of been off the game radar for a while, but I've been playing a lot of Forza, basically driving around in circles so I don't up my gamer score too much. But I got Hollow Man waiting in my hopper, Mega Man 11, the one I was talking about that was like kind of Castlevania.
Chasm.
Yeah, Chasm. I got that going. I've got so many that you can tell I like the kind of the side scrollers and stuff. But also doing some of the Sniper. What is it called? Sniper 4. It had the Sniper trilogy with the zombies and stuff, but this is Sniper Elite or something 4. I mean that's kind of, you come home from a rough day at work and you kind of shoot people. Better to do it on the TV than in real life, and so that's kind of been interesting. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else. I have to look at my most recently used on the Xbox on the console and stuff. But yeah, those are kind of the ones I've been waiting for. The other one where you're actually a cat. I started playing that, but was getting too much gamer score. You fight cats, and you change kind of the environment. I'm horrible with names. I'll look Tuesdays and Thursdays at all the new games and, get them when I see them. And, I'll beat them or, get sick of playing them before I remember the name. So bad at them. But there's a lot of cool games coming out. So, but yeah, it's mainly the indies and the smaller ones, kind of the old school. Side scrollers are my favorite, but I'll do twin sticks. I'll, even do a first person shooter every now and then. But I honestly, personally got most of that out of my system with GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. So I'm back to the old school games.
Would you enjoy a rumored N64 classic? I know they've had rumors of it, but Nintendo, they have the NES Classic, the SNES Classic. They deny that there's an N64 Classic.
Yeah, I just read that today. So, and I don't know why, because, N64 was one of my favorites. I still love the controller. I think that controller was still one of the most genius. I remember taking a picture of it back in the early days of the internet and bringing it to school, showing all my nerdy friends how cool this controller was. And it's 4 controller ports on it. And I totally love it. I loved the GoldenEye. I loved, they have the first Smash Brothers on it. We actually have N64 at work that we played Smash Brothers on. And, Mario Kart, that's still one of my favorite Mario Karts. I think it's, I'd totally be down for that. I had Rare Replay. They've got a bunch of great, actually, do they have a bunch of great N64 games? Yeah, they do. Yeah, they've got, like Jet Force Gemini. They've got, Donkey Kong, GoldenEye, obviously, Perfect Dark. So, I'd totally be down for a N64 Mini.
That would be amazing. I would love it so much. Plus, I already have the NES and the SNES. Might as well add to it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I know we've been chatting for a while. Is there anything about StickType you wanted to talk about that I didn't bring up?
I'm trying to think. No, you've been very thorough. Really. I just, hope people enjoy it. I told you how it's kind of was originally started off as a prototype and, kind of grew it into itself. If they really want to do more, they want to see more, I'll be happy to build more StickType games for them. If they want to see something with more graphics, I'd be happy for that. Really, I just need the motivation. I don't need a Kickstarter for the money. I need a Kickstarter for the motivation. So if there's any place like that, just people say, hey, Mike, make a game, make more games. If they like the StickType and stuff, just let me know. And, that always helps get me motivated and excited to, do some brain storming and come up with new games and hope people like them. So that's kind of rambling, but yeah, really, that's just kind of StickType in general. I didn't even know what I was doing starting off with. So, and I didn't know there was going to be a side shooter in there. I didn't know I was going to do a second quest. It's just kind of fun to see how that evolves. But yeah, hopefully other people enjoyed it too.
Do you have plans to bring it to other systems, or are you happy just being on Xbox?
Happy just being on Xbox, to be honest. At this point, I really like the environment, and they make it easy. You turn any any console into a dev kit. I think Sony, you needed a static IP. And Nintendo, you needed a special dev kit. I think. For it just being kind of learning game and stuff. It's met everything I want. If somebody else wants to take it and port it over, I'm fine with that. But yeah, for now, Xbox, I'm just happy with it being on Xbox and PC if people want it, just because it was easy to port to PC. But yeah, I'm happy where it is right now.
Nice. Where can people keep up to date with you and what you're doing?
Let's see. That's a good question. I've got the so for StickType, I kept a blog on Facebook. I created a Facebook page for it, and every day I'd write, what I did for 2017. And honestly, I'll be linking to any new projects I have from there. So maybe that's the best place. That's Facebook.com/StickType should get them there. I think it's also in the game's credits. So if they want to check that out, and that's if and when I come up with the next project and get closer to releasing something, I'll definitely link from there. So right now that's probably the best place for StickType news as well as future projects.
Sounds good. Well, Mike, it has been fantastic having you on chatting. Do you have any final thoughts before we wrap this up and move on?
Sorry for the strange achievements, but again, I hope overall it was a fun experience for people. I'm getting to meet all sorts of cool people like you, Joe, and do all sorts of fun things like this. And it's just been literally a dream come true. This was a dream I had as a kid. As soon as I popped Super Mario Brothers into my NES, and I want to do this when I get old. And I'm old, but I've done this, so it's I want to thank people for helping make it come true, and again, hopefully they got something out of this also.
You're an official game developer now, and you have 3 cats. What else could you need in life?
I'm set.
Mike, again, it's been fantastic chatting with you. Everyone else, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more show. Do you have any final words?
I just want to thank you, Joe. This has been great.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for sticking around yet one more time. Still more show to go, obviously. And look who we found.
I was in the dark. It was scurry. I'm afraid. It was scurry, and I'm afraid. Feared, even, one could say. But I am alive. So that's a plus, depending on how you feel about me.
Well, since you're my co-host, I am happy that you are alive.
There's probably like 3 viewers that are like, this bitch again.
God damn it.
We just can't get rid of this shrill ass bitch. It's okay though.
So for the people who don't know what happened, obviously we had an interview this last segment, and you were supposed to be there, but what happened?
The power went out. To be more specific, there was a fire at an electric pole in town.
Oh, God.
Yeah, like there were actual photos and stuff on the emergency management agency for our county. They had posted pictures on their Facebook page. It was kind of scary to look at, but yeah, they had to shut off all the power to fix that pole. So, so we got to sit in the dark. It was terrible. It was like 7:30. It went off at first. And then we sat here in the dark for fucking ever. And Dee used to work right away, clearing power lines out of trees. So he was like, well, the way that the light flickered, he said it was probably just a branch bouncing on the line or whatever. And given what time we called and reported it to how long it should take for him to get out here, because the power company isn't in our town.
Oh, God.
It's 30 miles away.
Oh, God.
So he's like, yeah, it'll probably come back on about 9:30. I was like, okay, that sucks. That's a problem. Well, then it came back on at 8:30. And so, like, I'm feverishly typing a text to let you know what happened. And before I hit send, it goes back off.
Nice.
Motherfucker. And then it stayed off, and I have no idea. It was, what, 10:30-ish or something?
Something like that.
I'd already gave up and went to bed at 9 o'clock.
I just got a message. I'm still alive.
Yeah.
The power went out.
Like, my phone, as soon as the lights came back on and my router had time to boot up, because my phone doesn't work without Wi-Fi. And so, like, as soon as all that powered back up, my phone just starts like da-ding, 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 da-ding. I was like, ooh, I'm in trouble.
You're fired.
Worst co-host ever. Even worse than CJ, and fuck CJ.
Yeah, for real.
But it was a pretty daunting thing, and I was pretty upset about it. I mean, what can you do? Mother Nature is what Mother Nature is. Yeah. And I assume that the whole fire and everything that happened was probably related to the ice storm we were getting at the time anyway.
Yeah, the ice storm showed up here as well. We got like 6 inches of snow and a nice layer of ice on top of it. So I was worried about my power too.
Yeah, fuck you. We didn't get that much snow. You can keep that shit to yourself. We had a little bit. I was really surprised they didn't cancel school, because usually here they're like, oh, there's a 10% chance of snow somewhere in the county. See y'all next month. So, like last year, they missed 55 days.
Jesus.
And it's just a thing. We just know that, like, from the second week of January until the 3rd or 4th week of February, there's not going to be any school.
That is a lot of time off.
We kind of like, we plan extra days into the school calendar for that shit specifically. To the point that if we don't miss any days for snow, then we can have 3-day weekend every day in March. Every week in March has a 3-day weekend. It's so good.
Damn.
But we never get that. It never happens. On top of having like specific days built into the calendar for makeup like that, we also have state approval to do what they call non-traditional instruction days. We can do 10 of those a year. And in order for that to work, basically teachers have to log on to Google Classroom and be available all day long. And they post assignments on Google Classroom all day. And the kids sit at home and do their homework on Google Classroom.
Oh, God.
So that's our alternative. Like, we can have 10 of those days. And then we have certain days built into the calendar for makeup days. But, like, we know everybody here lives on 1-lane dirt roads. You can barely get a bus up in a good situation. You throw a little bit of snow or ice into the mix and everybody's just like, fuck this, we're going back to bed. We have people whose whole job is just drive around the county to see how bad the back roads are.
Not a bad job.
No, unless the back roads are actually bad and you find yourself stuck on them at 3 a.m. Yeah,
but then you're getting paid for it.
Yeah, but cell phones don't work here, so you have to wait till you can find somebody to call.
Oh, man.
It's, you know, it's got its perks, but it's got its cons, too.
Anyway, we do have a lot of news that we got to take care of. We do have reviews we got to take care of. This is already going to be a long episode.
Whoops.
Shocker, right?
My bad.
We've had a couple of 2.5 hour shows again. I think this one might break it.
Are we speed running? Should I be speed running?
I don't know. Probably.
Okay.
Anyway.
Speed run mode initiated.
Big news of the week. This has been creating waves. It came out that Sony is going to be skipping E3 in 2019 for the first time in the show's 24-year history.
Okay, bye. Sony's E3 is never particularly good anyway. I'll say it. I don't care what anybody thinks about it. It's not just because I'm not even a big fan of Sony, but if you think about it, their shows are just dull.
Yeah, it's always, this is what's coming out in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years.
And they don't ever even seem like they're particularly excited for that shit. And it's odd because sometimes they're showing off really cool stuff, but you're just like, my hype train engine didn't even get a load of coal to start with. I'm just sitting here on the tracks. Like, you could have sold me something. Never mind. Because I always watch Sony's, because Call of Duty, Activision is buddied up with Sony as far as all that goes. Yeah,
they're friends now.
And so, they make the kissy faces, and Call of Duty is usually showcased during the Sony event. And so I would watch to see, the Call of Duty trailers. And the rest of it, I would just sit there like, well, okay, these are things.
It still seems weird for the entire company to completely skip E3. I could see if they didn't want to do a keynote address, but to not even be on the show floor at all, showing stuff off.
Oh, they're not even going to be on the floor.
No, they're completely skipping E3.
I wonder how that'll affect them, because E3 is a big deal.
Yeah.
And it's a big marketing push, and especially, you've got to assume, since Microsoft has already said, oh yeah, we're working on Xbox Scarlet, get your pants ready, that Sony would want to answer that somehow.
Well, a lot of people think Sony's going to be holding their own event next year for the 25th anniversary of the PlayStation.
It is the 25th anniversary of that, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So a lot of people think they're going to hold their own PS25 event, something like that, and they think they're going to show off the PS5 next year.
Maybe.
Which would be interesting to show off the new console. Can you believe we're already looking at new console generations?
Why are we I haven't even upgraded to an X yet. Calm down.
Well, you might not have a chance. You might have to just jump right to the Scarlet.
Skip it. Damn it. I just want to see everything in actual 4K and not my pretend want to be 4K. Son of a bitch. This is an expensive hobby.
It is.
Damn. But I don't know. Maybe they will show off the PS5. It just seems a little early. I don't know. It just seems early to me to be like, oh yeah, here's the PS5. Surprise, bitches, you can buy it today.
Oh, God. Pull a Saturn.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, I could imagine, because Sega did that with the Saturn, where they came out at E3 and they're like, hey, guess what? The Saturn is out now.
I mean, how'd that work out for them, though?
Not very well.
Okay, but to be fair, maybe PlayStation's going to try that, but they're going to say, well, it's fine because we're not at E3.
Maybe.
So who knows? I don't know if it would be like, you can buy it now, and it's just going to be in stores, but maybe it'd be like, you can pre-order now. That's probably a little more likely. But either way, you're going to be plunking down $700-800. That's just all there is to it. And it at this point, they're just starting to look like grilled cheese sandwiches that are sliding off because the cheese is too melted. That's what the PlayStation design looks like to me. So, at this point, you got a triple decker grilled cheese. It's kind of just gone to the wayside a little. Yeah. Bye.
I never saw it that way, but now I can't see anything else.
You're welcome.
Jesus.
Now, wait till the next time you see one that's kind of yellow or something, and you just be like, wow, it lost its bread.
Oh, God. Anyway, what other news was there? PUBG's on Game Pass. We covered that on the last episode.
Yep. Nukes to kill.
The Final Fantasy trilogy is part of backward compatibility. We mentioned that on the last episode. Mm-hmm. So that has come to be. And they're all 4K enhanced.
Very nice.
And they're all on sale, too.
Also very nice.
Because the Black Friday sale, they're all like, the first game is $8 and the other two are $10 each.
That's not bad. Black Friday sale is not as good as I was expecting, but there's a couple of things where I was like, ooh.
I have a small list of things I want to get, but I don't know if I'm actually going to get anything.
Now you can add them to a wish list, though.
Yeah, you can.
Want to talk about wish list?
Sure, go ahead. Tell us about it.
I don't know any of the details. I just know that I saw that wish list for things, so I was hoping you had better notes.
Not really. It's a wish list for the store. What kind of notes do you need?
I don't know. Is it just on the website, or is it on the apps? Is it on the dashboard store?
I have no clue because I haven't really messed with it at all.
I haven't either. When I saw on the website, I saw where you could click a heart and put something on your wish list, but I didn't go beyond that.
Someone shared a picture of checking out with a cart on their Xbox, so maybe that's implemented as well, or at least for preview members, something like that.
I think that's supposed to be for everybody at this point, which is interesting. It's kind of a long time coming. That just seems like something that should have been there.
Yeah. Our little store's all grown up.
Yeah, it's actually an official e-commerce marketplace now.
Yeah. Oh, well. Speaking of things on sale, Sunset Overdrive launched on PC this week. Just released on Friday for Steam and Windows 10, and only $20.
Oh, really? Only 20?
Yep.
They got a deal from the jump, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Lucky bastards. I wonder if the Windows 10 version has a different achievement list.
I think it does.
Oh, snap. Everybody gonna be stacking that bitch.
I don't think it's a Play Anywhere game, though, so you would have to rebuy it.
That would be weird, though. For all of Xbox pushing a Play Anywhere, which I think is a great program, but for all of their pushing on it, it would be weird if one of their first-party titles came to Windows 10 without it.
Well, maybe their agreement with Insomniac was... Because that was before Play Anywhere was a thing. Maybe it doesn't allow it.
Oh, that's a good point. I don't know. I should... Oh, look! The store app on the actual computer has cart, too.
Ooh.
Look at me being all smart and investigative. What were we even talking about? Sunset Overdrive. God damn. It's been a rough week, Joe.
Just a little.
Let's see here. I want to see if it's Play Anywhere. We got some say. We're speed running, but we got time.
Oh, we're not speed running at all. We are failing so badly at speed running.
This is basically what any speed run game for me is like as well. It is not Play Anywhere. So there we go. We know now. But you can buy it as a gift, or you can put it on your wish list.
Well, then put it on your wish list, and it's only $20, so it's not that bad.
$20, and you get the extra achievements. So that's not a bad deal in the end.
True. So. A couple weeks ago, we talked about a server shutdown with PlayStation for the games Twisted Metal, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, Warhawk, and Sound Shapes. That has been delayed. The new shutdown date is January 31st, so you can enjoy those games for an extra few months.
Oh, good. Get your achievements.
Trophies, you mean?
Yeah, that's too. Damn it. They're achievements, and I don't care what. The word trophies never sounds right.
I don't know.
I was expecting you to make fun of rot there, and you didn't do it. You let me down, Joe.
I'm trying to let you go with your
okay.
Your magic words. Plus, Ian's not in the chat room to make fun of you, so that's where it primarily comes from.
It's true.
What other news? Five Nights at Freddy's is going to be getting HD ports for the Xbox, Switch, and PS4. So there's a new horror series for you to get into.
I have never played ever, and I don't know how I feel about it. It's weird because I have a friend who's got a little girl the same age as number 3, and her little girl is totally into Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm just like, okay. I don't let my kids play horror games. But like the little girl had little pink pajamas with all the monsters on them and everything. And I'm just like, okay. This is a thing that happens in the world.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Next.
A bunch of games are leaving Game Pass this month. Fallout 4 is already gone from Game Pass.
Oh, damn it.
Yep, it's gone.
Guess I can uninstall that then. Just take it up space on the hard drive.
And then the other titles leaving include Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, KC Lacrosse 16, Resident Evil 0, Sherlock Holmes, The Devil's Daughter, The Technomancer, The War of Mine, The Little Ones, and Mega Man 10.
I'm glad I owned this War of Mine then, because I didn't get a chance to play it, and at least I already owned it, so I'm not going to be losing it.
Yeah.
But I need to play Brothers. I've heard that is an incredibly good game.
Well, you have until the end of the month.
Ugh. I got a whole 10 days of late nights coming to me, so.
Chop, chop.
Yeah, I'm going to have to put it on the list for after Spyro.
Speaking of, last bit of news I have is that the disc version of Spyro still required a mandatory 42 gig update.
Ow.
So it shows how important that disc really was.
Yeah, I don't, that's clearly just a nostalgia thing at this point, I'm guessing. Yeah. That's not all the news though, Joe. You missed some.
What else is there? What do you have?
Telltale games have been delisted. They are no longer available on Steam. Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, and the Monkey Island series.
Tales of Monkey Island, yeah.
So it looks like those are gonna start going poof. You can still get the Game of Thrones, Batman, and Wolf Among Us games, however.
Yeah, so it might be time to buy up any Telltale games you've been wish listing.
Yeah, I've been watching the Game of Thrones ones and I wanted it for a while. I played the first episode and never got to play the rest. And so I know everybody complains that it was like the weakest Telltale game ever. But I'm crossing my fingers it hangs in there until payday. That way I can pick it up because I would like to actually finish it at some point.
Yeah. What other news do you have?
There were some rumors about Xbox Scarlet since we mentioned that. The rumor being that it will be discless. Not dickless, discless.
The rumor I saw, this just came out today, right?
Mm-hmm.
The rumor I saw was that next year they're going to release a new Xbox One without a disc drive.
Ah.
Yeah, and that they might implement some kind of disc to digital program for people who buy that console.
You know, I know that there's a lot of people who love discs. And I understand that there's some reason for them involved still, like people who have data caps and things like that.
Or collectors. But the little hippie side of me is glad to see the physical media going away. Like, that's just shit that ends up in landfills after a while. So I'm totally okay with it because I'm a hippie at heart. It's one of the reasons that I went all digital, that and because I'm poor and codes are easier to get than games. But I mean, I can't imagine having a game library that had as many physical media games in it as I have digital. Yeah.
Like the few physical ones I have give me anxiety sitting on a shelf collecting dust.
Why?
I get anxiety with clutter. And I just I don't know. I just see it and I'm like, they're just sitting there collecting dust.
Well, then dust them off.
I do dust them off. But I live on a dirt road, Joe. There's just dust everywhere. You open your windows and somebody goes up the road and poof, everything you own covered in dust. True story.
Yeah, I've lived down a dirt road before. I know how it is.
Yeah. It's not a good look. But realistically, I'm not upset at all about the whole move to phase out physical media like that. I can understand why people are, though.
Yeah.
Speaking of dicks.
Speaking of dicks, any other news that you have, or are we ready to move on to the reviews?
Now. That's all I remember seeing. So I'm good.
Okay.
Okay.
So review time. First game to talk about tonight is called World of Final Fantasy Maxima, developed and published by Square Enix, released November 6th on Xbox One and Switch for $39.99. Available on PS4 and Steam as an upgrade to World of Final Fantasy for $15.99. A copy of this game was provided for free from Square Enix for the purpose of this review, which I apparently have to say with their games.
Oh.
Which,
really?
I mean, it's a given. We don't cover stuff on this show unless it's given to us, but
yeah.
According to some guidelines, we have to disclose that. So we got this game for free to review on this show, which is what we do with every single game we cover on this show.
Yes.
So, disclaimer provided. Capture, customize, and evolve. Embark on a magical journey with siblings Ren and Len as they explore the vast land of Grimoire to rediscover their past and save the future. Cole, tell us about World of Final Fantasy Maxima.
First thing I'm going to tell you is you said their names wrong.
Did I?
Yeah, it's Lan and Rain.
Rain. Okay, Rain and Lan.
So, typical of Final Fantasy games, these two wake up and they have amnesia. This is just a thing that seems to happen in like every kind of JRPG ever. But they wake up, they have amnesia, they're twins, Lan goes to work, there's a mysterious entity there who explains a little bit to him, but everything is kind of cryptic. But the long story short is that they were really good warriors and had a healthy collection of what's called mirages. And the mirages are kind of like if all the animals in Final Fantasy were Pokemon. Like, I keep struggling to find a good way to describe this because I was trying to explain it to number one when I was playing it. This was her first experience with a Final Fantasy game. And she's like, I don't understand. I was like, basically, this is like Final Fantasy meets Pokemon.
Yeah.
So, of course, because they don't remember anything about who they were or what they were, they have to re-find all of these mirages. They got to catch them all. And they're going to do this over the course of several different little worlds that they'll travel to. The world that they live in is called Ninewood Hills, and this serves as like a hub world for the game.
Okay. Where
players can go and they can buy their potions and modify their party. I'm trying to like not use Final Fantasy specific terms, but rather more broad ones, because I feel like this plays, even though it plays like a Final Fantasy, it doesn't at the same time.
Yeah.
And I feel like World of Final Fantasy Maxima is actually one of those kind of Final Fantasy games where even if you don't feel like you're a Final Fantasy fan, you're still going to be able to have fun with it. Because I have not played the other 748 Final Fantasy games. I just haven't. The only other one I've ever played was Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. That's my experience with Final Fantasy. But at the same, and again, like I said, number one, she was watching me play, and she's never played a Final Fantasy game. Still, even with what little knowledge I had of the series, I was able to jump into it. I was able to understand the combat system. I was able to understand the shop systems, and I was able to just enjoy myself. There are some cameos and fan service moments that if you're not familiar with the series at all, you're going to be a little lost on, but not to the point that you're not going to be able to enjoy yourself with this.
No, that's good.
Like I said, the Ninewood Hills serves as your hub area, and there are portals to the different worlds where you'll go to fight and collect the different mirages. You can just hop on in, travel through one. The different worlds are fairly linear, and you're not going to get a whole lot of shake-up or variety when you're going through one and going back into it over and over. There's not a whole lot of reason to. there are occasionally like little paths that you can branch off with and explore to find treasure chests or whatever, but you're not genuinely going to go have a huge open world experience in any one of these worlds. That said, it really is kind of for the better, because it's not a huge Final Fantasy experience you're going to get lost in.
Yeah.
It's easy to pick up, play for a while, put it down, go back to it, and still know what you were doing.
Which is good. A lot of RPGs, if you take a break from, you're screwed.
That's just it. There is no going back. You're like, well, I don't remember where I was. Time to start a whole new game. Yeah. You don't feel that way with this one. I will say the biggest turnoff for me with this, though, especially given the fact that it was kind of kid-friendly and kid accessible in the way that you play it and the way that it's set up, but it doesn't have auto saves. It's manual save only, and you have to find like these diamond areas that you can go to. So it's like a classic Final Fantasy. Yeah. I mean, it's understandable. It's a mechanic that has been, like you said, in classic Final Fantasy. It's not something they just took out and, screw you, no auto saves. But given how accessible the rest of it is for kids, that it felt like, a younger audience could jump into Final Fantasy here. That's a bit of a turnoff for me. Also because I die a lot.
Save often.
Yeah, save often. Find those that, look, before I shut the game off, I stood by the save and saved 3 or 4 times just to be safe.
I used to do that shit all the time with RPGs. Like, let me save again, just in case the first one didn't save all the way.
Yep. Maybe it missed that I did something 3 seconds ago.
I always do that shit.
One of the unique things about this game compared to other Final Fantasies is that there's a switch system involved where Lan and Rain can be normal size, which are referred to as giants with a J. I don't know why.
Because.
Yeah, reasons. They can be giants, which is their normal sized character models. They can also be little chibi sized characters called Lillykins. This is actually important to decide which size you're going to go into battle with them with, because even though you can change on the fly, once you enter a battle, that's that. The combat system allows for stacking. So when you collect the mirages and you tame them in your little prisms, which are basically just square Pokeballs, you can, essentially, they're tamed and you can use them to fight with you. So one option that you have is to stack your mirages with your characters. Stacking increases your stats and abilities so that you're more powerful. However, you do have to worry about being toppled, and which can cause people to be stunned. But the way that you stack your characters is dependent upon what size Lan and Rain are. So, for example, if you have a large mirage, you can't put giant version of Lan on a large mirage. But you can put a Lillikin on top of a large mirage with a small mirage on the Lillikin's head.
So you just make towers.
You have to make towers with them. Like I said, they can be toppled over, and once they're toppled, then you risk, a character being stunned and not having their attack in time. That leads me to my it's a minor complaint. And I don't know if complaint is even the right word. It's just kind of, I don't even know another word other than complaint, but
a gripe.
Yeah, more than anything. When you're in the combat situation, it's classic turn-based. It's, we all know it from Final Fantasy. They hit you, you hit them, hope for the best. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, they have like this little bar on the left-hand side, and the enemy's icons move up the bar, and your team's icons move up the bar. Whenever you get to the top, you have your turn. So there can be spells where if somebody's stunned or if, they're injured, they're slowed or whatever, it just takes so long for anybody's icon to get to the top of the bar. And you're sitting there like, I can't attack, they can't attack, nothing's happening right now. So if you're looking for really fast, high-paced combat, even though it's turn-based, you're not going to get that here.
That's like that in some older Final Fantasies as well. There should be an option in the settings to speed up the battles.
You can hold RB, which it took me a little while to figure that out. And like I sat there a whole lot. And then I bumped it and it moves it a little quicker.
Well, I mean, like in the actual settings, they should have a battle speed setting.
I'm not sure. Maybe. But yeah, that was my biggest fuss about that. I was just like, it takes a little bit. But otherwise,
you'll have to check the options.
Yeah, probably. Like I said, I'm new to other than Crystal Chronicles. I'm new to it, and so I could have missed anything.
Which Crystal Chronicles is nothing like a normal Final Fantasy.
No, it was not. I've seen videos of other Final Fantasy games, and I'm just like, it's not what my experience with Final Fantasy was. Especially when like Final Fantasy 15 came out and he's all like in the car with his bros, and I'm like, this is not a what? Where's the chocobo?
Yeah, 15 is a very different Final Fantasy as well.
It was very confusing. Anyway, like I said, if you're a fan, you're not gonna be let down though. There's the cameos from a lot of the different characters from the other games. You're going to have something to look forward to that you recognize as well. But you don't have to be a fan of the series to enjoy this one as well.
Awesome. So overall, $40 on it. What do you think?
I definitely say buy it. There's a lot here. There's a lot to do. It's the writing is really humorous. Some of the conversation and antics between the twins was just really funny. And I may not ever get to play it again because I think number one has decided she's going to steal it and play it all the time. Like she was like, she said, do you have anything to do this weekend? And I'm like, yes, play lots of Spyro. And she says, okay, because I'm just going to play World of Final Fantasy all weekend. I was like, oh, I'll have fun with that.
Nice. All right, next game to talk about is called 1111 Memories Retold, developed by Aardman Animation Studios and DigixArt, published by Bandai Namco, released November 8th on Xbox One, PS4, and Steam for $29.99. The 11th of November, 1916, a young photographer leaves Canada to join the Western Front in Europe. The same day, a German technician is told that his son is missing in action. Both want to preserve their humanity and come back alive to their loved ones. Cole, what is 1111 Memories Retold?
1111 is all the feels. Holy crow. Wow. So first off, the game, the first thing I want to mention about it is that the game has a very painterly, impressionistic art style. If you've ever seen paintings by famous British artists in that time period, the surreal, heavy textured brushstroke artwork is very common. I'm thinking mostly of like the landscapes by Paul Nash. And as far as a game goes, it can make it a little difficult to play. This is a kind of aesthetic that I could see people complaining like made them motion sick. There's not a lot of detail. Once you've played it for a little while, you kind of find yourself adjusting to it, and it looks natural. But when you're first starting, it can be a little jarring and take you back a little bit. You may kind of find yourself stumbling around because you won't be able to find collectibles. Everything kind of just looks like it's blurred in brush strokes together almost. But it does get better once you get to where you can start to see the lines of things a little more clearly. Then it's not as difficult.
It just takes some adjustment.
It does. I mean, when you think about it, we play a lot of games that are very hyper realistic. You go from playing something like Call of Duty that just like has all these super realistic textures or what have you, and then you go to a game like this where it's very artistically inclined and it's trying to tell a story, and the visual art style is just as important as any of the storytelling mechanics to the game. But again, it's a bit of a shock, if you will, until you adjust. That aside, once you actually get to playing the story and you're not motion sick from the sharp contrast of the aesthetics, then you're going to find that this is a story about two soldiers who are separated by all accounts, because Harry is a photographer from Canada and Kurt is a farmer from Germany who has trained as an engineer for the war. Yet situations beyond these two people's control bring them together, tear them apart, bring them together, and it's up to you whether or not it tears them apart again. Everything that you do in the game has some kind of effect on how the game plays out in the end. As Harry, when you are controlling him, you have the ability to take photographs. The photographs that you take affect the way that other characters respond to you. You have a love interest back home in Canada, and she asked for you to send her photos. So if you send her more realistic photos of the war, she'll tell you that's depressing. I don't want to see that. Whereas if you send her, more flights of fancy, whereas you're sending pictures of seagulls instead of motion sick sailors, then she's going to be far happier with you. You have better odds of going back to happiness, as far as she's concerned. Similar happens with Kurt. He will receive letters from home, and you have to, write letters both to his wife and to his daughter, Lucy. Kurt's purpose for being in the war is his son was enlisted and has gone missing. His son's entire regiment is missing, but he's convinced that his son is still alive, and he's gone to find him and save him. Harry's purpose is just that he wants the uniform because he thinks it will make his girlfriend back home like him better. One purpose for being in the war might be a little more respectable than the others.
Just a little.
But circumstances, like I said, circumstances beyond their control bring them together, and even though they're enemies, Harry being with the Allies and Kurt being with the Germans, they find themselves in a position where they're kind of forced into a friendship if they want to survive. And this carries on and kind of weaves a really delicate and intricate tale throughout the whole course of the game. It is a lengthy story. There are 3 acts. Each act has several chapters in it. The plus side is that there is chapter select. So if you miss aspects of the story, or if you want to see how something would have played out if you had done it a little differently, you can go back to chapter select without even having completed the game. And good. You can back up and try again or do it differently. Or go back and get the missing achievements, which I intend to do because there are, I think I counted 7 different possible endings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like there's that many possibilities when you're playing the game, and when you're exploring and you're making your decisions, you're like, each situation feels like you're making a good or a bad decision in a way, even though the game doesn't really phase it as this is the plus, this is the negative. At the same time, you're just kind of like, I know what I would do. And it makes it harder in a way. But it was really a heartbreaking experience. I think one of the moments that haunted me the most is when Kurt is going through a poppy field looking for his son, and he's checking the dog tags of every fallen soldier he finds.
Oh, God.
And he's remembering, this is the baker's boy, or this is so-and-so from my town's son. And he's telling stories about them as he finds them. And if you don't get at least a little choked up when you're going through that, there might be something wrong with you.
So it's a heavy game.
It is definitely very heavy. And the moments that you're going to experience aren't something you're going to want to take lightly. It is as rooted in realistic scenarios and memories. If I'm not mistaken, I feel like I read that the names and stuff were actual soldiers from World War I. So there's another instance where Kurt is walking through a cemetery where they're burying soldiers in mass graves.
Jeez.
And you have to deliver a wagon full of crosses because they've run out.
Oh, God.
Or there's instances where Harry is forced to take photographs where Allied soldiers are doing things that they should not be proud of and should not want photographed, and are just genuinely being cruel to prisoners of war. So there's some heavy imagery, even in an impressionistic style, that's going to stick with you. So
Damn.
take that, as you may, if you're interested in this game. I definitely think the story and the experience is well worth it. I think it can be a little cruel that the developers put collectibles in a game with visuals like this. So be prepared to replay and put that chapter select to use if you're going to go for the achievements. But I definitely recommend playing through it and then at least trying to experience a couple of the different endings and possible outcomes, because they will all shake you, but in a different way.
Well, then overall $30. What is your recommendation?
Buy it. This was as heavy-handed as all of the imagery and the storytelling and everything was. This was easily one of my favorite games this week to play through.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, moving on, shifting gears a little bit. Next game to talk about is called Seos, or Seok. I think I'm saying that right. Developed and published by Ono Studio, released November 7th on Steam for $13.99. Seok is a dark and playful point-and-click adventure, hand-animated in meticulous frame-by-frame 2D. Escape the clutches of an evil wizard and discover the secrets hidden within the spellbound castle of your ancestors. We take the role of Princess Seok, imprisoned in a castle overtaken by the evil wizard. Dark Mika covered this one, wrote in a review, and I'm going to struggle to say this name a couple more times. Seok is a cute point-and-click game. You play as a young princess named Seok. Her mother has gone off to do battle with some sort of monster, and her father has been missing for who knows how long. To top that off, after the queen left to fight the dark wizard took over the castle, summoned imp henchmen, and even locked Seok up in the dungeon. It's up to Seok to free herself from her cell, deal with his henchmen, and take down the dark wizard. The entire game is hand-drawn. While I wouldn't call it beautiful, but instead really cute. There's a lot of detail in most things, however, some of the things are drawn very simplistically and others very complexly, which gives an off-kilter presentation. This is why it's cute instead of beautiful. There's something super cute about Seok to me. Namely, she has the super big eyes that you always associate with children and kindness and all that, but somehow she still almost always ends up looking really annoyed or outright angry about things, which made me laugh a lot during the game. I'm not sure if that was on purpose or not, but I love it. There's some voice acting in the game, most of it somewhat garbled but understandable. The wizard wants silence, so all the imps are speaking super hushed, and they have a weird sound to their speech too, which makes them seem odd, which works since they are imps. The wizard doesn't talk too much. Usually when he does, he's angry because he wants, as he puts it, quiet and peace. The line was one of the oddest sounding lines because I've only ever heard it said peace and quiet. I was wondering what was up with that.
Right?
But he always comes off as angry and sometimes crazy. Again, it fits perfectly because he's an evil, crazy wizard. The only one that doesn't have any vocal lines, even though they make lots of noise, is Siak herself. Instead, she grunts and gasps. Almost every time she grunts, she sounds super annoyed, which matches her look and is great for a laugh. The only drawback I had with this game was many of the early and mid-game point-and-click puzzles aren't easy to understand. Thankfully, as the game comes to an end, the puzzles get easier. Sadly, it's not because you understand the mechanics any better, they're just easier puzzles. There's no hint system, which is a shame because I think if people don't look up a walkthrough, they might just give up on the game. As such, a hint system I think would really improve its marketability. That being said, there are walkthroughs, so that is good. The worst puzzles are the ones where you repeat the same step many times and nothing changes until you do just the right amount of times and then suddenly it's solved. For instance, in one part early to mid-game, you get stuck on a horizontal flagpole and can't climb back onto the ledge that's above you. In order to solve it, you shoo a bird between two poles about a dozen times, and then the cat that's been sitting there and watching the bird the whole time finally jumps down to get it. This causes the cat to knock a block away from the ledge, letting you climb up. You might shoot a few times naturally, but then you just assume, okay, that's obviously not the answer because nothing is happening. Nope, just keep doing it. There's no indication of where or when this is going to be a solution, and it's just a bit annoying because that's not how people are wired to think in these games. For $14 on Steam, oh yeah, get it. I might gripe at the puzzles, but it's too goddamn cute to not say yes to. It's about 3 to 4 hours long, longer if you don't use a walkthrough when you're stuck. Near the end of the game, it becomes very what the fucky, but the ending explains that the what the fuckness and wraps it up in a nice, neat bow. I love it. On top of that, the ending credits have pictures showing the story from the Dark Wizard's perspective, which is fucking fantastic. It's so great, and oh my god, just get the damn thing already. So that sounds like another good one.
I think she enjoyed the game, despite the what the fuckness and the what the fucky.
I had fun trying to say the name a bunch of times.
So much fun that you're going to play the game?
I might have to check it out. $14, not that bad. I might have to check it out.
Nice.
Next game to talk about is called The Long Journey Home, developed and published by Daedalic Entertainment, released November 14th on Xbox One and PS4 for $39.99. The Long Journey Home combines an open world full of galaxies, planets, and anomalies with quests and mechanics of a roguelike RPG. One destination, endless adventures. Where will this journey take you? Cole, where did it take you?
To Failure Town. This game is hard. It's the maiden voyage of an exploratory spaceship, and you get to choose the crew and what type of ships they're taking, and you're gonna go into motherfucking space, and then the aliens are probably gonna kill you. So there are 10 characters to choose from when you're choosing. You get to take 4 with you. They each have their own specialties. There's there's one that's an archaeologist. There's one that's the botanist. And then there's a researcher, and then there's one that's a civilian observer. Guys, she's a science blogger. She's a science blogger, and each one of them they all have their special areas, but they also have one item they get to bring with them onto the ship. And she brings her laptop so she can bring all her blog followers.
Oh, God.
Some of the items they bring on the ship may be a little more useful than others. Not to say that the blogger is the only one who brings something a little questionable, because the botanist brings her pet plant, Gwendolyn.
Oh, God.
It looks like Groot. But it's humorous to go through the characters. They do, like I said, they do have their perks. Some of them have benefits that can help you out. Like there's one that does hull repairs. There's one that can do repairs to your landing gear, who I clearly should have picked instead of the civilian observer. I made a poor choice. Didn't stop me, but I did it anyway. There are 2 different types of ships. One has better speed. The other one takes a few more lumps and bumps. Same with the landing gear. There's just some little minor tweaks to to what's available. You can choose which one suits your playstyle. I recommend choosing whichever one's going to protect you from the lumps and bumps, because every time your ship has any kind of impact whatsoever, you risk injury to your characters. I made the most tiny little minor bump while landing my little landing pod thing so that I could drill for some carbon. Mm-hmm. And I broke a character's arm.
Oh, God.
And you're just like, why are you so fragile? Everybody on this ship has brittle bone disease. What is this? Another one, I barely bumped something else trying to take off again. Nope, my blogger has a concussion now. If your character racks up 5 injuries and you don't take care of that shit, they die.
Oh, God.
So good luck. The long journey home means very few of them are actually making it home. In my case, none of them are because I killed them all. A lot. The plus side is there's 3 gameplay modes. I'm going to have a little bit of noisy dogs in the background. David's not here to help me. There's 3 gameplay modes. There's story mode for beginners. So if you do die a fuck ton like I did, you have the rewind option. The aliens are not as aggressive. They don't do as much damage. Everybody still got brittle bone disease, so there's adventure mode. It's a little more of a normal mode if you'd like to. Again, slightly more aliens out there to fuck up your couches, but you're not at risk of permadeath. Rogue mode is hardcore, and that's when it's you die, start all over. There is no rewind, screw you. And it will screw you, and it will screw you hard. Because see, I went into it with the intention of playing rogue mode because I love roguelikes. And I was thinking, I did really good at Flame in the Flood. Yeah. No, it doesn't work that way when you're trying to pilot the spaceship.
That'll teach you.
One of the unique things is that once you take off from a planet, you actually have to steer the ship in space in order to get to the other planets. Now, fortunately, once you're in a planet's orbit, as long as you're not going too fast, you can actually slow yourself down and go into autopilot, and it will land for you, and it slightly lowers your chances of barely tipping the wrong rock and giving somebody a concussion.
Nice.
Barely. The aliens that you're going to run into, they're not all bad. They're not all going to hurt your feelings. Some of them have shops. One of them gave me a sales pitch, like a straight up.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, the neighbors are shooting.
Oh, God.
And the dogs are mad about it. Anyway, you have the ability to jump through different solar systems. You can visit tons of different planets. Some have different types of materials that you can drill. You can upgrade your ship. Sometimes you might find random artifacts that you can take back to the ship that work out for you, and you can use them and they help you out, and others curse you, and then you end up with everybody dead.
Nice.
It's definitely an experience. It's definitely something that you are not going to go into and just blast through right away. There's a really high learning curve with navigating the menus. This is actually one of the games that I was a little sad didn't just launch with mouse and keyboard, because it would really help. One of the downsides to navigation controls is that when you're in the hub, your analog sticks don't work. So you have to use the D-pad to navigate through everything. And it's just so instinctual to want to flip through the navigation menus with the analog stick, and you're like, click, 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 and nothing happens. And then you're like, oh yeah, D-pad. So it can take a little getting used to. And then the menus are definitely complicated. You can heal the people that you give concussions and broken arms to. And worse, they will get so much worse. But they can have up to 5 ailments before they die, which is just miraculous. I don't know what people with brittle bone disease have really good immune systems, I guess. But the med kits and stuff that you're going to need in order to craft those things, they're really expensive, almost to the point where you're like, well, you got 4, fuck you, you're going on the next adventure. Whatever happens. So it's definitely got a really high, they're still going.
I love how it's just a mixture of dogs barking, cats meowing, and people shooting guns in the background of your review.
Can you hear the gunshots?
Every now and then, yeah.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, even on story mode, it's just a very high difficulty, and you have to really think about, is it worth landing on a planet and trying to look for resources, or is the risk of giving somebody an ailment way too high to make it worth it? So it's an interesting game, but it's not going to appeal to everyone.
Awesome. So overall, $40 on it. What do you think?
I do give it a try it, and I look forward to putting some more time into it and hopefully being able to navigate it a little better and make it further. I want to get home.
And who knows, maybe they will eventually add mouse and keyboard support to the game.
I got my fingers crossed. I hope they hear this and they go, hey, that's not a bad idea. Because it's not a bad idea, guys.
Awesome. Well, one final game to talk about tonight might sound a little familiar. It's called StickType, developed and published by Michael Palotas, I think he said his name was. Michael Palotas.
I don't know. I wasn't here.
Hopefully I remembered it right. Released November 9th on Xbox One for $2.99 with all proceeds going to animal charity. Can you evolve from a simple circle to scale the tower and save, well, whoever's crying for help at the top? Cole, tell us about it.
I didn't get all the way to the top.
Me neither.
It's stressful. I will say that even though it's stressful and it's kind of difficult, the game is incredibly responsive. And I felt like when I pushed the button to jump, I fucking jumped. Whether I could make that jump useful or not didn't matter. Is that the jump did work. So this is basically a very minimalist styled platformer. There's I don't even know how to describe this game. Like, I'm looking at my notes and I'm just trying to struggle to put it together to describe it.
It's just all drawings of dicks instead of notes.
Yeah, basically. No, it's stick people because it's StickType. It is a platformer. It's very effective at being a platformer. And there's not a lot of other things to get in your way with this. All of your enemies are stick figures. There's stick figure spiders and stick figure zombies. If you're lucky, you can eventually upgrade to where you have a dash and you can combat against those a little. There are boss fights every so often against a less stick figure-y guard dude. He's a tough cookie.
Yeah, he's a dick.
The first 2 times that I interacted with him, I was like, okay, I can do this. And the answers for how, I don't want to give the answers away on the review, but for how to defeat him seemed like stupidly obvious. And then the 3rd time I ran into him, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm an idiot. And it took number 1 walking by and just blurting out what I was supposed to do.
Nice.
And I was like, well, I'm a dumb. I think it's really creative that as you explore, you unlock different abilities. In the beginning, you're just a head that can roll. And then eventually you can jump. And then eventually after that, you can kind of pogo jump. when you get one leg, or like a stick body, I guess it is. You can pogo jump, and then you get the legs, and you can run. It's really creative. It's just that it's very minimal. One of my biggest gripes about the game, though, is that there are hidden collectibles, like stick types, that obviously that you can.
Yeah, see, that's where the name comes from.
That you can find and eventually play as. Some of these are so well hidden, I don't know that I will ever find them. Even though they pop up with a tutorial to tell you this is how you unlock this type of collectible, I still sat there like, what? One, for instance, is just, sometimes it pops up if you stand still for a while.
Yep.
And I sat there forever and nothing happened. I don't know if I was in the wrong spot.
Yeah, you were in the wrong spot.
If I was like 1 pixel off.
we talked about it on the show. There are some stick types that allow you to see where the secrets are.
Yeah. I must not have that one yet.
That's how you could find some of the hidden secrets.
Yeah, that was my biggest complaint. I'm sitting there like, even the tutorial is telling me there's something here, and I'm just sitting here staring, and I don't know what I'm looking for. I had no idea. Yep. But I thought it was a lot of fun. It was frustrating, though, at some parts. Because in certain areas, like, the tutorials will pop up and tell you, okay, you have this mechanic, and this is what you can do. You can dash, or you can now jump. There's one instance early on where you have to jump this crazy ass long distance. And I bet I died 7 or 8 times before it dawned on me that I got to the end. I needed to dash. I just didn't know I could dash in the air. Nothing popped up and says you can dash in the air. And I just like, I died 274 times before I figured out to press X. A little heads up that I could press X would be good.
Boy.
Yeah, I didn't beat it because I kept doing dumb shit like that.
Yeah, it's a tough game, but $3 on it. What do you think of the game? Yeah, $3, $2.99.
Look, it's not even a fuck it, why not, because it's so cheap that and it plays well. Like, fuck it, why not is for like questionable plays. You know, like, this is enjoyable. I had fun. I had a laugh. I was playing it. My daughter was watching. She was laughing at me when I died miserably. She blurted out what I was supposed to do when I was fucking up. And I don't even think that's fuck it, why not. I think it's buy it just because it's so inexpensive. The money's going to charity and you're going to have a good time. If I'm not mistaken, the achievements are fairly easy to complete as well, if you can actually beat the game.
And if you could enjoy the fact that they are all odd-numbered achievements.
Yeah.
Which I love.
I was so happy when my gamer score ended in an even, like, a 0 or a 5 after, like, 7 years of not. And that's gone. Bye. That's not a thing anymore. I think it ends on like a 7 now. Yeah,
that 7. Came up in the interview.
I just looked over at the Xbox and it's a 7.
If you're listening to this part and you haven't listened to the interview, you should really rewind it and check out the interview.
Rewind. Not go back because we're old. You rewind that shit.
But yeah, $3.
Yeah, that's definitely a buy it.
My cat's demanding attention, so.
My everything's in this house are demanding attention right now.
Well, the good thing is that is the end of the show. This has been a long one, a lot of stuff to digest. Thanks again to Tim for coming on, chatting wrestling with me. Thanks for Mike for coming on and chatting about StickType with me. Thanks to you for coming on and chatting news and reviews with me. Yay!
I'm a guest on the show. I co-host.
Hey, you got to show up for those interviews.
Sometimes.
Fucking fire your ass.
Okay, but if you do, can you send a warning note to my electric company first and be like, y'all can't have her power going out Thursdays at 9. Or like any other time during the week, what the fuck ever. But Thursdays at 9 are problematic.
Like, I have stuff I have to do, power company. Come on, get your shit together.
It's the one time a week where I legitimately need electricity.
Yeah. But yeah, that is it for this episode. Jeez, I don't know. Do you have any final words to end it?
Speaking of dicks.
Speaking of dicks.